Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It is Monday. Nice to be here. Shouldn't give days of the week. I know we're not supposed to timestamp in this digital world of content, but whatever, right? Like it's the day after the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. Rams are finally champion. Stafford finally champion. The Bengals lose. Ray Rout, our blogger, football blogger, NFL guy, is here. He's got a podcast called Talking Football with Ray. So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a lot today, which is exciting. It was fun. We're going to talk about mandates and restrictions coming off, which is great news for everybody here in the province of Ontario. This is great news. Two good news stories. We watched a hell of a football game yesterday. Mandates and restrictions are coming off, as have been planned for quite some time as we're kind of coming through this. So many good things to talk about, including really pissing off MAGA Nation yesterday.
Yeah, you lit a bit of a fire, eh?
Yeah, it's dude, I don't care. It's my pleasure. Anyway, we're gonna have a chat about that because the give send go list and the trucker thing is still going on, which isn't a trucker thing. It's like basically just like fundraising for MAGA Nation on the backs of like really sad, unfortunate Canadians. So we'll get to that because the list of donors is out and we provided a link for people to go and have a look at it. And boy, oh boy, did it upset a bunch of people. But fuck all that right now. Let's compartmentalize.
I don't
today.
know how you had time to release that list when you spend so much time sucking Satan's cock.
Right? I was amazed. This is just one of the tweets I've gotten over the past 14 hours. Repent and turn to Christ before it's too late. Oh, right. You love Satan's dick in your mouth. I just like... It's a MAGA Nation. I you know what? And it's funny because I was laughing with some friends of mine yesterday. Folks are Christian people, lovely Christian community, nice people. They believe none of that stuff. It's all MAGA. That's what the extreme portion of evangelical Christianity in the state should be called, MAGA. Anyway, you're right. I didn't have time yesterday because I was busy sucking the devil's dick, but I did watch a lot of football. Had some friends over. Ray Rout joins us. Ray Rout.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. I'm ready to be guilty by association here. So let's do this thing.
Ray,
have you been
enjoy
getting
the
much
game?
heat?
I did enjoy the game. The game
Okay.
was good. I know there was a lot of people complaining about it. Dean, it was a lot of your Buffalo Bills comrades who were complaining about the game. Same with the Kansas City Chiefs fans. And I just had a good laugh. I had it out with a Buffalo reporter last night, one of them blue check marks, because he was trying to explain how the Chiefs and the Bills were the actual Super Bowl game. And I started out nice and just nicely explained to him that it was the divisional game and neither teams were in the Super Bowl. And he took exception to that. And we had a thing about it. And you told me before we started I could let loose a little bit. So if I could, since we're there, I need to get a little something off my chest.
Please.
So in early December, I was approached by a Main Street media outlet out in New England. And they wanted to bring me on to do some work on their website. And the guy who was recruiting me said that he wanted to bring me on because I'm edgy. And I'm not sort of the normal type of writing and video content that they put on there. And so we started negotiations. Things were going really well. We had money figured out, all that out. It was more just commitments that we were trying to figure out. And then they ghosted me for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I received an email from them last Friday or 2 Fridays ago, I apologize, that said that there are people within their organization who are concerned about my general attitude towards the sports media and the reporters in the sports media, and that for the time being, they have to pause our negotiations. So I took the professional route and told them to go fuck themselves, those exact words. And I was struggling with it because I am known as someone who goes head to head with blue check marks and sports media personalities, which is probably why I fit in this network beautifully. And they made my decision for me and they made it so much easier. So thank you, Nesson, you fucking assholes. So
Nesson offered you a gig They didn't like the fact that you got lots of engagement and kept people honest online.
Correct.
And they just didn't call you for 3 weeks, and then when you called them on it, they're like, "You're too edgy." Is that the deal?
Well-
and didn't you say to start that Nesson hired you to be edgier? Is that correct?
Yes, but I think somebody actually went. It was one of those things where I think that I got noticed. They approached me and then actually started going and looking at my content and realizing that for a long time I had a segment that was Idiot of the Day, and it was a reporter. And unfortunately, there was a lot of Nesson reporters that were on there, and I had big beef with a former Nesson reporter they had named Doug Kide, douchebag, who likes to quote tweet everything and tries to just, he'll never directly. I've invited him on my podcast 50 times, and he never comes. He just likes to quote tweet me and have all his little followers kind of go at me and that kind of thing. And I just keep telling him, just come join me for 20 minutes. We'll have this conversation face to face. He's a pussy. He won't come over. So they wanted to just put things on hold a little bit and talk it out. And I told them to go fuck themselves. And so that deal's off the table now. So just let in perfectly. So I thought I would just share that.
Free agent. Dude, you know what? Airing the grievances to start a show might be the best way to start a program. Specifically when you share that grievance with people and they understand how the business works, right? There are very few people like you that have the authenticity to be able to deliver the content that you deliver on a daily basis, which is why I fucking love having you part of the network. And if you haven't subscribed to Ray's podcast, I highly suggest you do. Despite the fact he's a greasy Pats fan, he might be the most knowledgeable football guy on the planet. And I would highly encourage you to go and subscribe to his podcast, Talking Football with Ray. Follow him at DPN_Ray.
I need to change that.
Why?
Oh, because it's no longer called Talking Football with Ray. It's now called the Dear Pats Nation podcast with Ray Rout. After talking to your guy, I was informed that the name was bad, so we went back to my old name.
Dear Pats Nation is the name of it. That must have been pretty recent. You're talking about Kundal?
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago. It was. Listen, I was always Dear Pats Nation, and then my podcast partner left, so I just had to quickly rebrand. And the only stupid name I could think of at that time was Talking Football with Ray. I made it as easy and blunt as possible. And
made all the sense in the world to me. I'm like, who's Talking Football? Ray.
Yeah,
I don't hate football. That. Yeah,
I like it too.
Yeah. Anyways,
you know what? You know what, Ray? I have always had an issue with sports donkeys, like the guys that take it way too seriously. And in the rock world, you end up working in a building. Generally speaking, you end up working in a building with the sports station, and there's always a group of guys that are just, so I know exactly where you're coming from. Like it's funny, they're all cut from the same.
Yeah, dude, like the MSM guys, and we're getting to the Super Bowl, the actual Super Bowl in just a second. We just wanted Ray to air his grievances. It's like Festivus for Ray.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate where you're coming
right.
from, Ray. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this thing in mainstream media, especially in sports, and I used to say this all the time when I was unfortunate enough to work at the Fan. I'm like, do you guys want to be successful or take yourselves seriously? Like, you got to decide which one you want to do, right? And the sports donkeys, that's the one thing they all share. It's like, fuck, we just want you to think
serious.
Yeah, we want you to look at us and go, that guy's it when it comes to football. And if you actually do what Ray does and call guys out, if you follow Ray on Twitter, he's great at this. He'll call guys out on a couple of things. You also like to troll a little bit, Ray. Like the whole thing about Josh Allen being better than Mahomes. You did a post last week that had like 80,000 page views, and it was like it started a world war between countries almost. Even worse than this fake trucker convoy.
Well, I was just telling Lachlan off air when you were stepping away that my producer also runs a lot of my social media stuff.
Right.
And I go on there and I start fires and then I leave. And then he's stuck for the next 2 days trying to deal with everybody tweeting at us.
That's why you fit in so great here, Ray.
And everything else. But I'm not a troll. I call myself a professional agitator. It's because a troll, I think a troll is somebody telling you that you suck Satan's dick. Like, that's a troll, right? You're trying to be mean, you're trying to be harsh. I try to use my brain and try to say things that just that make people think, and sometimes when you got to think, you get upset. And football fans are the easiest people to agitate in the world. And listen, guys, for your audience, because I know a lot of Bills fan stuff. nobody's easier to agitate than Patriots fans. I mean, I drive them probably crazier than any other fan base in the world.
Well, it's the sense of entitlement of thinking you're going to win it every
yeah.
year, and there being a very good chance that that's the case. It drives
Oh,
people
yeah.
fucking nuts.
But see, being a part of the Dean Blundell network has done something really odd to me, and even my podcast and my podcast and YouTube followers and blogs and Twitter followers, I probably now have more Buffalo Bills fans who follow my content than Patriots fans, and I can tell that by the comments, the analytics, and all that kind of stuff. And it really feels like I sold my soul for this, right? And someone said to me the other day, they said, well, you know what, when you make the big bucks, sometimes you got to sell your soul. I'm like, I don't even get paid for this. I said, I'm just fucking, I said, like, I don't even know what I've done here. And one of my regular guests is a Bills fan now. And it's, I said, I'm starting to believe that I now know more about the Buffalo Bills than I do about the New England Patriots, and it's making me a little sick.
Dude, you've been catering to the Bills specifically with content on our site, which is great because a lot of Bills fans read our stuff, right? And it, just by nature of the culture that we've created in the community, we got a lot of fans down in Buffalo. And if you want to endear yourself to fans, just do an article. Like if you're a sports writer and you want to endear yourself to a community and get instant groups of friends, because Bills Mafia, it might be the greatest group of fans on the planet in the NFL. It's just a fact, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you're right. Like, I can tell you this, is that I watched that divisional game, and that was the Super Bowl to me. What I watched yesterday was a great fucking game. But at the same time, the game that I watched in the divisional championship, that was how you wanted the Super Bowl to be, right? Just gunslinging back and forth, 4 lead changes in the last 2 minutes. But the Rams won yesterday, beat the Bengals. It was back and forth. Lots of injuries. Odell out, but he gets a ring. Lots of tears. Aaron Donald, just beautiful speech after the game. Bengals got fucked. But give me your take on Super Bowl 56, and give me your take on Joe Burrow losing, and give me your take on the Rams winning and Matt Stafford finally getting a ring. Because listen, I want to get into the minutiae of the Super Bowl, but I can tell you this, is that I just fucking loved the game. Like I watched, I was on Twitter blackout from like 4:30 until 11 o'clock last night. I didn't even pick up my phone because I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah. Okay. So first, I could care less if Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl or not. He's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I think at times he showed it last night, and he showed it since he's been in Los Angeles. There was too much made up of him playing for the Detroit Lions that people were acting like he was a top 5 quarterback who never had an opportunity. He's maybe a top 10 at the very bottom of the list right now. I think in the golden era of quarterbacks, he wouldn't even have been there. However, I am happier than shit for Odell Beckham Jr. I was laughing at Cleveland Brown fans a lot today. So I really pissed off the state of Ohio. But it's, I've been saying since they cut. First of all, I've been enamored with Odell Beckham since he was a Giant. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. I think he's never been in a position to succeed. He was finally there last night. You saw before he got hurt how well he would have taken over that game. He would have been MVP, not Cooper Kupp. That's not taking anything away from Kupp. He's a phenomenal player. It's just you could see the way the game was going. So happy for Aaron Donald, who may be retiring now at the age of 30, which is crazy to think about. I came out a few weeks ago and said I think that he's the greatest defensive player of all time. I upset a lot of Lawrence Taylor fans, but I believe it. And so I was so happy that they got a ring. The Rams almost blew it yesterday, and it would have been 100% on Sean McVay, who in his first Super Bowl appearance against the Patriots just kind of overthought things. And he did the same thing last night. There was a couple of instances, and I won't get too deep and bore people, but there was a second down in one play, and he starts putting people in motion, and he's waiting right down to the last second to get the play into Stafford, and they end up taking a delay game penalty 5 yards, and that basically took them out of first down contention. They ended up punting the football.
Yeah.
And he does that a lot when he gets in these big moments and he overthinks things, and I think you saw a lot of that last night. As for Joe Burrow, I mean, he played very well. I think clearly having T. Higgins, having Jamar Chase is big for the kid. He can throw them the football. He's got guys to get the ball out to, but it also became abundantly clear last night that they need to put an offensive line in front of him. I think he's tied now for the most sacks in a Super Bowl, 19 sacks total throughout the entire postseason. And
that was the burn on him too. Like it's talking about them in the offseason when they drafted Chase. Everybody was shocked that they didn't draft like a fucking big O lineman, right? Because they needed that much help, and they got to the Super Bowl. But I mean, to your point, they'd be fucking a different team with an offensive line. Like their defense was great. They stuffed the run all night. Akers just had that one miracle run at the end of the game, but other than that, he was nothing. And you're right, that was glaring, and it was glaring in all the Bengals playoff games, wasn't it? Like against the Ravens, what did he get sacked 9 times? And
against the Titans,
like
9 times. I thought he slept with
very
Mike
mobile
wife.
though, right? Is that a
Burrow?
Yeah,
He's pretty mobile.
He's mobile enough.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he's mobile enough. But he's enough of a pocket quarterback that you have to be able to protect him. And away from just protecting Burrow, they also have Joe Mixon, and you saw some of the runs that he made last night. To me, he's a top 5 running back in the NFL. Imagine if he had an offensive line in front of him.
Yeah.
The damage that he could make. But so I think the offensive line killed them. Give it out to the Cincy defense. They played really, really well. That game completely changed too when Odell got hurt, because it looked like it could get very ugly for Cincy. And then when Odell went down, to sort of change the complexion of the game. Yeah. But again, I'm going to call out Sean McVay again, because they couldn't get the run game going, and he insisted on going with Cam Akers. He kept handing the ball off to Akers, kept handing it off. And I was getting frustrated because Sony Michel really picked up for the team when all their running backs got hurt. And in the time that he played this season, he was averaging 4.1 yards per carry. He was tearing it up down the stretch. He got 13 total carries throughout the entire postseason, as Cam Akers averaged 1.6 yards per carry, and McVay just would not get off of him and not go to what works. If anybody remembers 2018, when the Patriots beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, they did it on the back of Sony Michel.
Yeah.
And that's where he kind of got the playoff Sony mantra. So I think that there's he outthinks himself too much. He over prepares, and he admitted that after he lost the Super Bowl. And I think if they would have lost last night, he probably would have said it again, because he just outthinks himself sometimes and doesn't keep it simple enough.
Yeah, still won though, and Rams are Super Bowl champions. There's so many storylines involved in this one, right? Like Cooper Kupp being the MVP and how humble he was at the end of the game. I loved it. He was like,
wasn't it fairly obvious that they were going to go to him every time?
Yeah, Odell was out. Half of their receivers had been injured basically for the entire year, and Chris Collins was like, I guess you just got to find a way to give it to him, and they did, and they knew it was coming, and they still won. I mean, you have to give Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford a little bit of credit,
15
right?
beer in me, and I was still going.
Cooper
Looks like
Kupp.
It's going to Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah.
Cooper Kupp is phenomenal. I mean, there's a reason he's the Triple Crown winner, right? Like Triple Crown and now the Super Bowl champion. He's phenomenal.
Dude, he had the single greatest receiving season in the history of the NFL. He took out Jerry Rice's record by like 300 yards.
Yeah.
It was the most unbelievable. And I had no idea until like halfway through the playoffs, because he's so quiet about it, right? Sorry. Didn't mean to
and he got an MVP vote too, which is huge, because everybody, I mean, he got a vote over Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor didn't get a vote. He ran phenomenal this year for the Indianapolis Colts. Aaron Rodgers, to me, clearly deserved the MVP. But, Cooper Kupp is absolutely phenomenal. But can we talk about the penalty at the end of the game? Because I think for me...
You're going to need to remind me.
There's a penalty on a knockdown
deep.
pass at the goal line. Did you have 15 beers last night? You weren't joking, were you? You really did have 15 beers yesterday.
I was pretty slaughtered when I was in that Uber at 8:30. Yeah. Yeah. I have a problem with the game starts too soon.
It was 3rd and goal, and they were trying to get the ball to, I think it was Kupp. They were trying to get the ball to, and there was a little tiny ticky-tack hold. And they threw a flag, and they called it a holding penalty, and
the goal line,
and it reset the downs, because I think that either would have made it 3rd down or 4th down.
Yeah,
and it reset the downs, and eventually the Lions punch it in. They get a touchdown. Cooper Kupp over Eli Apple, who's getting roasted by every receiver in the NFL right now, which is hilarious. But so for me, I understood the Bengals fans' frustrations and the people who were cheering for Cincinnati because they hadn't made a call all game. And I think what's more disappointing to me is the NFL officiating has been horrible this year. And after the Super Bowl, is you can say what you want about the NFL. I'm only here talking to you because of the NFL. So I have an affliction. Dean and I didn't meet on the street. I was met because of my NFL content. to see NFL rigged trending on Twitter, I don't want to say it's painful, but it's disappointing as somebody who consistently covers the game. So I came out last night and I said, listen, it's not rigged, and that penalty did not cost the Bengals the game. First of all, they were only in the game because the refs didn't call a blatant face mask on Jalen Ramsey on the 75-yard T. Higgins touchdown. A good point. So they kind of both balanced each other out. Number two, I always say that if you lose a game because of one ref's call, you did a lot of things wrong throughout that entire game. You should never be in a position where a bad call can burn you. And it was a hold. I think why people were upset is because they had called nothing the entire game, but it was a hold. It was light. It's something they've called all season. And I'm sorry, Cincy and everybody else, you got to get over it. It is what it is.
Yeah, and that face mask on Ramsey for that touchdown was awesome.
Egregious.
Like that was one of the I remember watching. I said to my buddy Pete, because we had people over yesterday, I'm like, he didn't just fall down. Like something happened there, and then they went back and looked at it, and it was one of the greatest face masks, like low key face masks I've ever seen in my life. It was like a, and then he just took off with the ball. And that was an absolute blown call, right? Like a huge blown call. And I agree with you. As much as I wanted the Bengals to win, in the balancing out of the game, I didn't really have a problem with that
blown call or a ticky-tack call. I mean, I think the blown call is worse. And I was cheering for Cincy, right? Like, I think a call like a blatant miss like that is far more, I don't know, painful to a fan base, in my opinion. But
I think the thing
I just look at it. Sorry, I just wanted one more point to add. I would look at what happened in that game when it came to the refereeing. If this is NFL's rigged, and I know Ohio fans were pissed off yesterday, and Cincinnati fans are super pissed off, and I know Joe Burrow fans are pissed off, and LSU fans are pissed off, and I get that reaction, dude. Reactions are what make up perceptions, right? But both of those calls, plus the entire year and the entire schedule of NFL refs making everybody shake their fucking heads. I got to wonder if this is going to lead to some conversations with the commissioner and the NFLPA, no?
No, because I've been on this is my fourth show that I've been on today to talk about the Super Bowl, and we've had extensive conversations about the referees. I had I had conversations on my podcast about the referees last week, and I did 2 tours. I did shows last week that we talked. The referees came up. Controversy creates cash. I read a book once. He was a former wrestling promoter, and he said controversy creates cash. And the more that we are talking about officials, the more that we're going to be drawn to the game. Do you know how many times I've been watching Red Zone and they show a controversial non-call or a controversial call, and I immediately leave Red Zone and flip over to the game because I just want to kind of see the aftermath? Or I'm doing things around the house, and it's one of those days I can't really watch, but then I see a tweet about some sort of controversial call, and I quickly flip over to see what's going on, and I jump to my TV, and now they're getting my rating. I don't think they're going to fix it. The referees have been bad for a long time. They've done
they
nothing
like it.
to
It's
fix
like bad refereeing's clickbait for the NFL.
It is. At the end of the day, and I stress this to any football fan out there, no matter who you cheer for.
Right.
Because some of y'all take football way too fucking serious. And I'm somebody who takes football serious because of what I do. At the end of the day, outside of this not being predetermined, this shit is no different than the WWF. This is entertainment. We're going to get mad. We're going to be happy. We watch this to be entertained. This is not a part of my life. This is not... Regardless, if it was the Buffalo Bills last night, Dean, you still would have been doing the podcast today. I still would have had to take a day off to talk to you. You know, like it wouldn't, nothing in my life or your life would have changed, except you would have been a little bit happier. And, you know, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have sucked the devil's dick so much. You know what I mean? It would have just been a little bit of that.
Would have been a better day yesterday if the Bills won the Super Bowl. I would not have sucked the devil's dick. You're absolutely correct, Ray. But
he loves Satan's cock.
I can't get enough, according to the alt-right. It's one of those things. Dude, it was just it was an incredible game. All things aside, it was awesome to watch. It was good to see people believe it or not, in the stands not wearing masks. I know that's a whole issue, but I liked it. I liked the fact that it looked like 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those, and I know the Super Bowl didn't lack for much when it came to masks and social distancing. But I loved it. And you know what I fucking loved? And I had a conversation with a buddy of mine last night after the halftime show. I was like, which halftime show was better? Because that was a legendary halftime show. Snoop Dogg, Dre, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Kendrick was fucking unbelievable. And I loved what it said about the culture, new place, SoFi Stadium. These guys were like getting jacked by cops for the color of their skin 30 years. Now they're the center of the universe and they control the world. Loved everything about it. But I had a chat with my buddy yesterday and I'm like, Prince or Dr. Dre, which was the best? I still think Prince's halftime show was fucking lights out, but this is right there. It's got to be the second best halftime show I've ever seen. Easy.
I had originally put it as the number one. I was sort of prisoner of the moment. And then when I thought about it more today, I've talked about Purple Rain in the Rain for years. So I had to put Prince on top as well. Mm-hmm. But that was such a great show. I think what was the best part about that halftime show last night, outside of, these sort of older millennials like me explaining to my kids why it was such a good halftime show, was that I wanted more. When it was done, I wanted more. And there's been halftime shows like when Maroon 5's halftime show a couple years ago, like I
fucking stage
couldn't wait till it was done. Justin Timberlake, I couldn't wait till it was done. And I'm a Timberlake fan, so don't get me wrong, but he was bad. I didn't find him great. I was done. No? I'd had enough. Where last night I was like, when it was finished, I was like, oh no, it's done.
Yeah, I was sad it was over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was when Springsteen shoved his dick in the camera. Do you remember that? When Springsteen went sliding across the stage and he shoved his balls in the camera, I was like, is this over soon? Last night I was like, it's like as they trotted guys out and you knew M was going to be last, they brought him out to grandstand. Dre finished off the whole thing. Snoop was fucking great. The story, have you guys heard the story about Snoop, by the way?
No.
It's disgusting. I've lost all respect for Snoop.
Ray, tell the story because you put out a fucking great tweet about it. Here's Ray's tweet. This is awesome. I was such a fan of Snoop, but this explosive report has changed my mind. Weed is a gateway drug. I'm living proof. I smoked one joint. The next day I was taking uppers. Shame on you, Snoop. Shame, shame, shame. Did I do it right? Is he canceled now? And that was in response to a New York Post story. Snoop Dogg smokes weed right before star-studded Super Bowl 2022 halftime show. And there he is, a picture of him gagging a huge joint prior to going on. Just another reason why he's my fucking hero, right?
Yeah. Why was that news? Like, why was that? Like, you know what? They should have reported that I had a coffee when I woke up this morning, because that's probably how pressing news that was. Snoop smoked a joint before the show.
And he fucking knocked it out of the park. What was funny was I was listening to him and I'm like, dude is still so good. He's so tight. He knows all this. And he just smoked a huge bowl before he went on stage. I'm like, that makes him even more fucking incredible, because I wouldn't be able to get through that.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw out one thing that I noticed online last night, though, and I want to talk a little bit about hypocrisy here. So I saw a lot of 50 Cent jokes last night. A lot of weight jokes on 50 Cent, right? He's now 75 cents. He's now 260. Man, he's put on weight. I'm just saying they're funny. And my wife and I made a couple jokes ourselves, and
Buck liked them. Yeah,
I'm a
he
big
did
guy.
Look a little puffy.
Yeah,
I'm a big guy.
Bit. Yeah,
but if people would have been doing that to Mary J. Blige last night, the reaction from social media and the woke crowd would have been so different, because I didn't see anybody talking about body shaming with 50 Cent last night, right? Like,
well,
it was
okay. I don't think reverse misogyny exists, dude.
No, I'm not looking for reverse misogyny, but I was just kind of chuckling to myself. There was a lot. Like, I mean, it was a lot about 50. And I just thought, first of all, 50's current body shape is my fitness goal. So it was, I need to put that on the table. But number two, I thought if that would have been Mary J. Blige, look at all the weight she put on and this and that, the reaction would have been very different from around social media.
Yeah, it's funny because when she came on, everybody that was at my house watching the football game was like, what happened? And I was like, don't anybody tweet about it. Don't anybody tweet about Mary J. Blige's outfit or how she looks, any of that stuff, because you're going to get in shit for it. And then as soon as 50 came on, it was like everybody was tweeting about how fat 50 looked and how thick he was with 2 C's. And I'm like, the double standard in this room is incredible.
Yeah.
Truly incredible. Yeah. I didn't have a problem with it, though. I you know what I loved? I loved the nostalgia of the whole night, right? Like, it was fucking, from 50 to Mary J. Blige to Eminem to Dre to Snoop, and then they mixed in some Kendrick. He hasn't done anything in like 5 years, and I love Kendrick. My kids love Kendrick. You know what I loved about it? my entire family, my kids, myself, everybody watched it. Like everybody, and they loved it. And there was something in it for everybody too, right?
I have a question. This is coming from, keep in mind, the second whitest guy in Canada. The other one's next to me, the whitest guy in Canada. I thought this was a homage to West Coast rap. Is 50? Is it 50?
No, 50.
Is he not? 50. He's not West Coast. He's New York, right?
He's New York. He was there because of Eminem, who's Detroit, who's really kind of East Coast as well.
Okay,
but Fitty is on Shady Records, which is Eminem's record label.
And M's label works with
I had heard
Dre's label.
Gonna be like we're gonna pay homage to West Coast rap, and at least that's what I heard Snoop saying. So
I think they did it with like
Tupac.
Yeah, I did too.
When they played California Love. But
awesome.
Going back to nostalgia, it started even before the halftime show. I said to my wife, we were watching, so they were showing the celebrities in the crowd. I said, okay. They just showed Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck together at the Super Bowl, and now we're waiting for Eminem, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg to do the halftime show. I said, it's 2003 again. I said, we've walked into a time capsule of Bennifer, and then this halftime show. Everything was nostalgia last night.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Jennifer Lopez Olympics commercial? Anybody see that one?
No,
I missed that one.
Oh, dude, it was basically Jennifer Lopez with almost all of her boobs out.
Okay.
Reminding everybody the Olympics were on after the Super Bowl for 3 minutes. And not one, I've got 3 boys all over the age of 16. My buddy has his son here. He's 22. Not one person said a word during that commercial. Not one. All of them were just staring at it. And my 16-year-old's like, Dad, who's Jennifer Lopez? I'm like, shut up. I'm listening.
Jenny from the block, son.
Shut up, son. I'm watching. Shut up. Putting a deposit in my mind. Relax. Leave me alone for a minute.
That was probably one of the best halftime shows as well, where I didn't listen to a word of the music, her and Shakira a couple of years ago. I watched it on mute.
That one was a little rough.
Do you remember how crazy the religious right got after that whole thing? They're like, they filed a report with the police, and they called the FBI, and they're like, my daughter just was sinned against watching that whole thing because of the boobs and the bums and all that. Do you remember how crazy people went? I watched that like
Beyonce
this.
In that one?
No, it was Jennifer Lopez and Shakira.
Yeah, and they were not wearing a lot.
Okay, I remember that one now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a red-blooded male, you fucking loved that show.
Well, I tweeted out, thanks a lot, NFL. I said my wife called me humping the couch during the halftime
show. Fuck. Speaking of crazies, I don't know if you guys know this, but here in Ontario, they dropped the mandates, and so the Vax passport is going away by and large. I think March 1st.
Good work, truckers.
Good work, truckers.
Thank you, Trucker Convoy. We couldn't have done it without you, although everything was done without you.
Yeah.
Take credit for it.
First of all, how do we feel about the mandates coming down? I know that you got that announcement last week, Locke, in Alberta. Mandates and restrictions are all coming off. Don't know the timeline. I think it's similar here in Ontario. We're done, I think, on the 4th or 5th, 1st or 4th, one of the two, of March. And I think this week we're going to get a bunch of restrictions eased, and would love your thoughts on both. Let me just kind of get to some nitty-gritty. Starting Thursday, capacity limits will be removed to a host of indoor settings where proof of vaccination is required, including restaurant, bars, other food establishments without dancing, retailers, shopping malls, gyms, non-spectator area of sports facilities, movie theaters, meeting and event spaces, museums, galleries, aquariums, zoos, similar attractions, casinos, bingo halls. Hey, the bingo hall.
Bingo's back.
Yeah, bingo's back. And other gaming establishments, religious services, rites, and ceremonies as well. Gathering limits will be 50 people, 100 people outdoors. Organized public spaces will be capped at 50. Apparently, from my understanding, is that the government is going to remove the proof of vaccination system March 1st, moving up to the second phase of reopening on Thursday. The province said in this release Monday, despite moving the vaccine passport system, businesses and other settings may choose to continue the required proof of vaccination. Masking requirements will remain in place. Thoughts, Ray, as an Ontario person? give me your thoughts, and I'm going to go to Locke as an Albertan. How do you feel about mandates and restrictions coming up?
Yeah,
and there's no judgment here, by the way.
I called Ford a pussy today and said you caved and you're a fucking pussy, and I just left it at that. That was my tweet. And that was the whole tweet. I don't know. I don't like the vaccine passport being lifted. Call me a fascist. Call me what you want. I am immune compromised. I'm triple vaxxed. So, I mean, I know I'm protecting myself. I'm trying to protect my family. My kids still aren't eligible to be triple vaxxed. I've heard it's coming out soon, but it is what it is. I'm all right. Whatever. I don't go anywhere anyways. I don't leave my house. So I don't know why I have a problem with it. Cause I really literally go nowhere. So, besides going to work, I know this is going to cause shit around my workplace when clients coming in and that kind of thing. As long as they keep the mask mandates in place, I can live with it. But I don't know. Last week they had no plans. Then they had plans. Now they're accelerating things. He caved. He's a fucking pussy, and he's pandering to his daughter and everything else. That's all I really got to say about it. Or I'm just gonna get myself in trouble.
Ray coming in hot. No, fuck. I love that take though, because there's so many different parts of this that we got to kind of, digest, and having different opinions is good. It's funny because for the amount of shit talking I do with this group that's online, it's really just dedicated this alt-right extremist group that has really misrepresented all the truckers around the world in this Ottawa Convoy. And to that point is I actually, and we've been saying this in the podcast for weeks, is that we don't like the mandates and restrictions either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like none of us like to be told that we can't go to the gym, we can't go to dinner, and we got to stay home. But by and large, the majority of us have done that. So my question to you would be, and to both of you, is do you feel resentment towards that group of people knowing the mandates and restrictions are coming down? All these guys did was act like complete fucking assholes. By and large, the people that are in Ottawa, the people that do not want to be part of the solution, do you feel like you've had to carry the mail lock and that these guys are getting a reprieve?
Yeah. Did I talk about my buddy Weird Jason on the pod with you guys last week?
Yeah.
I think I did. I did a show last week on the locker room where I called him out, and I said that my friends group had been planning to go to Super Bowl, and we were going to go to one of our drinking holes, Kelly's, and then he's on the text thread and he weighs in. Looks like I can go now too, boys. And then I was like, I guess I'm not going because I don't want to be around him right now. And the reason I don't want to be around him is because I know he's going to be gloating. He's an anti-masker. He's an anti-vaxxer. And I actually called him out on the air. And he's apparently livid with me about it and quite upset. But yeah, it's not that I'm holding it against a group of people. It's that I don't want to have these conversations, right? We all went through shit, right? Some of us are playing the victim now, like, and waving that card around. And that's what this thing is in Ottawa and on the bridge. It's a victim's parade. And some of us just went about our business and did what we thought we needed to do to keep ourselves and our families and our neighbors safe. And, he commented on the text thread. He was pissed off and he went, no one ever asked me why I didn't get vaccinated. And I was like, no one asked me why I got vaccinated, and no one fucking should care. Why we all know what you are. We know what you are. I don't want to have that conversation with you. Right. So the problem where I'm worried about my reaction to him saying he was going to go is that it shines a light on my hypocrisy, which is I have been saying this out loud now for weeks to try to get my head around it. This is my process. And I've been saying it on this podcast. I've been saying it on my show weekday mornings, but I've been saying, listen, we all need to put what's happened over the last 2 years behind us and move forward. So me not wanting to go to that gathering on Sunday is hypocrisy on my part. right? And so I'm feeling guilty about that, and feeling guilty about the fact that I'm saying one thing but feeling another.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not exactly sure how I'm a lot like Ray. I've just been sort of trying to listen to what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do, trying to follow the rules, try not to get too upset about the contradictions in how they're the messaging. Here's the other thing that's pissing me off, and no one fucking says this out loud. This drives me crazy. We would not be here right now if that 10% or 15% that didn't get vaccinated got fucking vaccinated. We would have had these rules gone 6 months ago. We'd all be living normal lives. So we've had it dragged out now because of these assholes. And now these assholes seem to think that they're actually part of the reason why the mandates are lifting. And I don't want them to get any fucking credit, like none. That's how angry I am at it. And again, that shines a light on my hypocrisy in that I keep saying we got to fucking draw a line in the sand, and we all have to move and work and live together, because that's the next steps for everybody. I'm just trying to listen to what everyone's saying. I understand what Ray's saying, but I'm just trying to look at what it is that they're doing and the reasons why they're doing it. I will probably continue to wear a mask even when they tell me not to. And I'll tell you, the first fucking person that tells me that I'm a pussy for wearing a mask is going to get a fist in the face. I swear to God. And I'm not going to put up with it. Everyone should be taking care of themselves and their own families. But that's where I'm at. I'm bothered by my own hypocrisy. Is that fair?
Right. Yeah, but I don't know that it's hypocrisy, Ray. Like that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, just listening to you, Ray. Jamesy joins us, by the way. Bonzi's in the green room. He's going to pop in a bit too. But Ray, that's kind of what we were talking about. Like, over the past, I would say 2 years, you had 90% of Canadians, by and large, go and do their civic duty, right? Yep. You had people say, we want to be part of the solution. And then you had, generally speaking, 2% of the 10% running around yelling at us saying, how dare you exclude us from your club? You're no better than us. And we're like, we don't give a fuck if you get vaccinated. We just want these restrictions and mandates to end so that everything can go back to normal, right? Yep. And that's kind of where I'm wrestling with this. To Lachlan's point, I got this tremendous amount of, I wouldn't call it resentment, but I said it last week on the podcast. If you don't believe that any of this shit was real, I will never take you seriously, nor will I ever actually want to sit in the same room with you, because you're fucking not here. You're not real. This is like what we went through for the past couple of years is real. While everybody was fighting against it, making our lives miserable in the process, while we were going forward doing our civic duty, getting the same bunk messaging from the government, getting the same bunk excuses from everybody, and then going out into the world to live a protective life, trying to keep our family safe. We had to fight everybody, right? Like, we had to sit there and take it from everybody. We took it from the government. We took it from these fucking losers. We took it from racists. We took it from the alt-white. We took it from dumb people that didn't understand science. We literally ate shit for 2 years, while a certain segment of society is now claiming that the reason why these mandates are coming down, the reason why these restrictions are coming down, is because they sent a bunch of fucking rednecks to Ottawa. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't know if I have the testicular fortitude, as Lachlan says, to be able to move forward with that group of people in any capacity at all.
I have a problem moving forward, and I think that we've all experienced COVID differently. And my journey through COVID has been well documented on Twitter, on my YouTube page. There's lots of receipts there for anybody who thinks I'm full of shit. But I had COVID back in 2020 when there was no vaccine, and my wife came to check on me. I think it was day 3, and she asked me how I was feeling, and I told her I'm praying for death. Like, it's because I never felt like that in my life. I had pneumonia. I was almost hospitalized. It was the worst thing I ever went through. And then last August, we lost a friend of ours. We did a tribute show for him on our podcast. He was 38 years old. He was unvaxxed, and he died. He caught the Delta variant. He was in the hospital for 6 weeks and then passed away. So COVID has hit me hard in the sense that I had it, and and it took me almost 6 months to recover. And I'm still dealing with some of the the long COVID that they talk about, and then I watch, we've lost a friend of ours. So I do have a problem moving forward because they call it a hoax and they call it all this shit. And I didn't have influenza. He didn't have influenza. It wasn't the flu. It fucking killed a 38-year-old guy who goes to the gym 5 days a week. Like it's, and
it
so
was real for you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that everybody out there saying it's not real. You fucking had it before the vaccine, and it was fucking real. You prayed for death. Then you lost a friend of yours who was 38 years old in perfect health.
Yeah.
That's real.
So I think that's where I come from. So like I said, I haven't left the house. I don't go anywhere. I went grocery shopping with my wife 3 weeks ago, and she told me I can't go back because I almost fought half the store just because people are acting like everything's okay now. And I'm triple vaxxed. I should feel some sort of security and safety when I go out. But I've been offered soccer tickets. I've been offered to go. I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'm just going to stay home. I don't want to talk to people. Fuck all of you. I want to be able to see my parents. They're old. They're immune compromised. I don't want to, potentially give it to them. Yeah, my parents are the worst. Like they're. I had to have a talk with them and say, you can't see my kids anymore if you don't chill out the amount that you guys are going out and getting together with friends and stuff, right? So it's I don't know. So I understand the hypocrisy. I understand people wanting to move forward, but I think there's still a reality that this shit is still real. And you guys talk to people in the healthcare profession. I have friends in the healthcare profession just based on what I do for a living, and they keep telling me this shit's not gone. And they don't understand why people are acting like it is.
Yeah, there's a couple comments in the comment section that would justify what you just said as well. Let's not get it twisted. COVID does not prevent the disease, but does cut the greater possibility of worst case scenarios. You weren't vaccinated and had it, so you have long COVID.
That's been
right?
said from day one.
Yeah. Brenton said,
I always
Ray,
knew that it wasn't
years.
a fucking silver bullet. I always knew that. That's the thing that's been. We've had so many of these conversations on.
But that's what the crazies wanted to represent, right? Like they said it was a cure. Like all of us knew it wasn't a cure. We just wanted to hang in there long enough to fucking get to the point where this whole thing would phase out. We wanted to give ourselves every opportunity to live, which is what we did.
Brent was on 3 fucking puffers. He couldn't walk. Yeah. He had to take a break walking up a flight of stairs.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right?
Anyway, it's bizarre, and the timing of it is incredible. To Ray's point and to Lachlan's point, James, thanks for coming. I know you're busy today. Just talking about the mandates getting striped by Doug Ford today. No vax passports as of March 1st.
He did go.
It's almost like it was a political decision.
Hold on. He did say though, and I'm not defending old Dougie here, Cheesecake Doug, but I'm telling you. I thought it was important for him to say what he said, which was none of these decisions were being influenced by what's happening with the protesters. He said that out loud.
Yeah.
That's what, and I heard
he
that.
Lied.
Yeah, he lied. He's full of shit, dude.
He lied.
So wait a second. You're telling me the politician who is like the greatest liar in the history of this fucking province told the truth today?
Well,
I don't know.
If I may rephrase what you just said, he is the most compulsive liar in the history of Ontario politics. Not very good at it, though.
So none of you guys,
not too good.
You guys aren't giving him any credit whatsoever.
No,
that maybe this
no, dude.
was
The timing
before.
of this whole thing, like, listen, we knew this was coming. It's been a race for Doug Ford to save his daughter and to try and stay relevant and to keep some kind of political capital in his back pocket. That's what this race has been. So he's been not insultive towards these insurrectionists. This is what they are. They're fucking insurrectionists that hate this country. He hasn't insulted them once. He hasn't gone after them once. And there are a ton of organizers of this shit brag going to jail. Like a ton. And I know that for a fact. And the dude's been like, well, we just don't want to. And so today, for him to make that announcement, to Ray's point, might have been one of the most fucking cowardly things I've ever seen in my life. Like my fucking life. That is not an announcement you make when the capital of our country is under siege by a bunch of fucking incels and rednecks that have been co-opted by a bunch of alt-white extremists out of the United States and a couple of other countries that just want to fuck with Canada's fabric.
Do you know how you end this? I'll tell you. I came up with it today. Cut the strings of welfare. Just
I don't know
and
that's a
stop.
That is the
welfare.
most right-wing idea. You people in Alberta don't even know when you're
You
being
go right
rabid
to getting
right-wingers.
people off of welfare.
Why
Take it
don't we
all
just
away from them.
Why don't we just kick everyone off welfare? That should, like Mike Harris did. That'll be great. That'll be good.
No, but my legitimate point
I'm
here
being
is
a
that
dick.
yeah, I know you are. Is that that didn't need to happen today, James? That's my point. Like
Well,
today,
wasn't it
he
weird?
didn't need
Didn't-
to at the day after we fucking cleared our border in Windsor. The day after, with machine guns and tactical units and tanks and stuff
See that
like
one
that.
guy get tackled? That was
Yeah,
the
it was
best
the best.
video I've seen.
The
in
arrest
a
videos
month.
out of fucking Huron Church were incredible. Guy getting carried. It looked like he was going to be right into a waterboarding too, which I'm like, keep the camera rolling for the waterboarding. Wanted to see it.
Didn't you like? I mean, Ford's done this before. He's done this so many times because he did the two-step again today. He wanted to look tough to the majority of people by talking about the $100,000 fine, and being unlawful and things like that. And then where the two-step comes in is him lifting the mandates. I don't care that he said that it had nothing to do with the protest. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of back channeling going on with Catholic communities and with other communities and these back channels are going, well done. You showed that protesting works. We got you. Like there's ministers probably doing that right now. There's at least MPPs that are doing that right now. And that is just how this guy operates. That is how Premier Ford operates. So he'll say, and they did that because they're well versed on doing that with pro-life issues for the last 30 years. Okay. They say to the cameras that abortion law is settled, and they use back channels to let their support base know that we're going to do everything we can to try to repeal abortion laws. That's what they do.
So you don't think it was important that he said it out loud? Do you think he should have just made? Because I think we're at a point right now, James, where the announcement. I listen, and again, I think the way that restrictions should be handled, moving forward, and this is just coming from a guy that is, like I said, probably still going to wear a mask into the grocery store. I think we are at a point where we should be lifting some of these things. We should be having those conversations.
Totally agree.
But again, we're going to be critical of how they do it and why they're doing it. I get all that, but he's doing it. He's following in the footsteps of people that have done it already, like Alberta. There's a conversation in BC about doing similar things. There's this timeline, right? There's this structure to it. And then he does say this has nothing to do with the protests and we're shitting all over him.
Right.
I'm not defending Doug. I'm just saying, don't you think it's important that he said that? Like, I think he has to say that. No.
And I'm going to tell you
only
why,
if it's truthful.
I am, believe it or not, for the first time ever this weekend, I wrote a politician and I wrote Christine Elliott, who's my representative here. It's also somebody whose campaign I volunteered on last year and did things. I've been a conservative my entire life and voting conservative. I don't know who he's speaking to right now because my entire family are conservatives and they are not voting in this government. My friends who I met through volunteer work who are conservatives, we've all made the decision not to support them in the next election and do the volunteer work. And I wrote her a pretty lengthy email begging her. I said, I know you have Doug's ear. Don't do this. You're not talking to the base right now. We've lost faith in the base has lost faith in this government. So he could have said whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. But he's not speaking to conservatives right now. He has spoken to the far right, and that's his big problem. And nobody,
as a conservative, do you feel that? Like, I'm apolitical. I can't figure out James Laughlin's whatever. Whoever has whoever can get him the bridge pack the quickest.
Free beer.
First of all, I'm more.
But as a conservative, you're looking at what's happening, right? And you see how your party is legitimately, like Pierre Poilievre today is like, these are my people. Like, does it not bother you?
Bothers the shit out of me. And to send me letters and ask for donations and to give me money, and I laugh at them. And I've asked them all to take me off their subscribe list. I don't want to get the letters anymore. And they are trying to be the Republican Party so badly For me, it's I guess I'm more progressive in a conservative standpoint than what the conservatives have turned into on both sides, and calling them the PCs in Ontario is a joke because it's not progressive. I was a big supporter of Brown before he got set up by his own party, and
he did.
He absolutely did, because he was rocking the old boys. And then when Ford came in, I said, "There we go. We're back to it." And I was
Ford actually wasn't part of the plan. They were like, "Oh shit, how did this happen?"
No, he wasn't part of the plan, but it made me sick. And no, the party has gone to shit on both sides, both provincially and federally. They're not going to fucking dime for me. I don't know, for the first time in my political, I don't know if I'm going to vote in the election because I don't know who the fuck to vote for. So I'm just
welcome to my canoe.
And I hate
Lachlan,
not exercising my right, but I can't do it.
Yeah. Lachlan, what's interesting is that the other day, last week, and I'm not shitting on you for this at all, but it's interesting how we are kind of starting to dissect individual politicians in a way that we have never done before. So last week it was, is Trudeau going to delay getting rid of these mandates and restrictions because he doesn't want to seem like he's kowtowing to the protests? And I was
that's what I was worried about.
Yeah. And at the time I remember agreeing with you, going, well, I hope not, because if you're competent with your communications, and neither of these gentlemen are, if you're competent with your communications, you're able to walk that tight wire rather easily, by being transparent, by saying to us in December, we're walking and chewing gum right now. We're going to continue to look at the data that's coming out of hospitals. We're going to continue to look at the science, and we're going to look at a projected analysis on when we can start shutting down these mandates and these restrictions. But we don't have any level of government right now that's transparent. So when they get into situations like this, maybe Ford is telling the truth. I don't fucking know, but maybe he is. But we can't give him that benefit of the doubt because we just spent a year and a half watching him politicize a pandemic.
Lie his
and
off.
They've all done it, though. I mean, every party is politicizing it, even in the minority side of the federal. Like right now, it's a mess. I watched a little of the, what do you call it? where they all yell at each other. What the fuck's that called?
Question period. Question period.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I was like,
I couldn't
disgusted.
I'd be triggered. Within the first 5 minutes of question period. So first someone stands up and says, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'd be like, "Let's fight."
That's because no one does it like Tom Mulcair did. Tom Mulcair literally reinvented question period when the Senate scandal was happening during the Harper years. He stood up, and instead of going, "Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister," and blah, 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 it's just grandstanding. He went up and he was like, "Mr. Speaker, when did the Prime Minister know about the check?" Sat down. So that when Harper got up and started flim-flamming and grandstanding like he's normally used to, everyone was like, wait a second, he just asked you a fairly direct question and you're grandstanding. That looks weird,
Yeah. It's funny because I hate politics. We're sitting here talking about politics, and as soon as we get into that conversation, I'm like, fuck, I hate it all. I don't want to talk about conservatives or liberals. I just want to talk about the extremes on either end, because these are the ones that misrepresent everybody, right? I'm sure there are really good conservatives. I'm sure there are, I haven't met many. Sure, there are really good liberals. I'm sure there are really nice NDP. I don't give a fuck about anybody. It's the quality of the character. And the one thing that Ottawa has shown me over the past couple of days, Ottawa, Windsor, Sarnia, a bit yesterday, and then these in the country, is that the conversations we have are generally about who's winning, who's losing, and what side we're on of that fight, right? The conversation we're having today about if you took all the context out of this fucking mandate and restriction kiboshing across the country, just for a second, right? You took all the anti-science wieners out. You took all the ultra-vax fucking loser woke lefties out. You took all the righties out. You just had us 90 in the middle. And you said, hey, guess what? Mandates and restrictions are coming to an end this month. We should be in the streets.
Yeah.
We should be dancing, kissing neighbors,
but we're
high-fiving each other. But you know what we're all doing? We're all going like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who are my friend groups? Because everything changed in the last 2 fucking years. Everything changed in the last 2 years. And not only are we looking around, because I'm with Locke. And
that's my struggle.
to the point where I'm at this area of my life where I'm really happy that the mandates could be going away. It's no fun walking around showing people your shit going into restaurants. We did it because responsibility wasn't oppression to us. It was just an extra level of responsibility we took on for ourselves, families, and other people, right? Like all that shit. The extremes on both sides are the ones that are fucking us into next week. Case in point, a couple of days ago, 2 weeks ago, we had this big fucking rally in Ottawa get light up. We've had the entire city on lockdown. We've watched people use children as human shields. Those people are not interested in this country. They're not interested in freedom. But to Ray's point, to James's point, to Lachlan's point, that creates another whole thing when it appears that they got what they wanted. If you look at it from the outside in and you don't take the effort that we've all put into getting here to task, like 90% of us have really done a good job. And you think about those fucking cretins that are legitimately doing the work of the alt-right machine in Ottawa. A lot of them are actually pulling out of Ottawa today after that announcement that Doug made. I was watching videos today of people going, job done. Yep. And you have to almost shut them out when you go, you know what? I am glad the mandates are gone. No one liked them. If I was a hypocrite at the start of this and I said, hey, listen, I really love these mandates, it was because it kept me away from the sick before we had any solution to it. We didn't have vaccines. We had nothing. I'm triple vaccinated. I've had COVID. I haven't suffered with COVID or lost anybody with it, but I have had it, and I have friends that have long COVID and all that other shit. And if you ask them what the biggest victory here is, it would be, we're not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? I asked a friend of mine that today. Aren't you happy about the mandates and the restrictions? Not really. I feel unsafe. And to Ray's point, he has, I don't know, maybe some PTSD of the whole thing because he watched a friend die. He had it and he felt like he wanted to die. And while, you know, people like that have suffered and you've watched them play with your fucking life for the past 2 years, they've played with our lives too, not just the lives of the degenerates that think responsibility is oppression. While they were fucking acting like cocks and still are, we've just been trying to get it done. And so the
to that point,
that's
Dean,
here is fucking massive.
Yeah,
massive.
That's a great way of putting it. But to that point, think about who is playing the victim card right now, right? And you may have somebody in your life, like I do, that's waving the victim card, and it doesn't look good on anybody. And if we're sitting here doing the math and determining who should get that card, maybe Ray has a better... You know what I mean? Like, maybe, Ray, you should be protesting. You know? Fuck, go block a border. Right?
Yeah. Imagine a Zoom protest. That'd be awesome.
No, because I'm also under the understanding that my experience with COVID-19, it was not the same as Dean's experience with COVID-19. So him and I are going to have different comfort levels of this. So I'm not going to be there saying, put the mandates back in. I have my own concerns, but I can also, the same way, the thing is I'm a reactor to situations, and it takes me a day or so to get over and think about it. And my reaction today was Ford's a fucking pussy, and I got upset, and that's just always my first reaction to things. However, as I've thought about it, how the day has gone on, nothing in my life is going to change. I'm not going to go to fucking restaurants anyways. I have no plan to do that. I'm going to keep my same little circle that I've had. I have no intentions of expanding it. So why do I give a shit if you guys can go to a restaurant and not show a vaccine passport? You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I think that's my own thing. So no, I would never play the victim card regardless of...
I know you wouldn't, but I was making
But nobody should. But I get what you're saying. I found out this weekend that a former friend of mine, because as of Sunday I decided we're not friends anymore, was in Ottawa this weekend. And I laughed at his hypocrisy because he did a video about why he was there. He was explaining it. And he says, I understand some of you are upset with me because you had it or you lost someone to COVID. The only person he knows who lost someone to COVID is me. So it was a direct message to me that he said. He goes, but you got to understand why I'm here. I'm here for freedom. I'm here for peace. I'm here for love. I'm here to take away discrimination. We can't live in a country that has discrimination. I've sat in a room with that guy and listened to him drop hard R's. I've sat in a room and listened to him tell me why faggot shouldn't live. I've sat in a room where he's explained to me everybody who's not a straight Caucasian male is below him. I've heard his thoughts on the Jews, and he has the balls to go down there and say he's doing there because there shouldn't be discrimination in this country. And that's the part that just fucking infuriates me. And if anybody's offended, I apologize, but I need to fight for freedom and I need to fight for inclusion because there needs to be inclusion in this country. And I just sit there and go, fuck you, dude.
And you know the color of that guy's character, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was
you're
just
the
going to
most
say something similar to that. And also, like, maybe this pandemic is teaching us how to shed friends like that before protests and before pandemics. You know what I mean? I'm not judging or anything, but like, you know, if we all take an inventory of our friends, maybe we can figure out who to sort of leave by the wayside. I just wanted to add one more thing. I think COVID is going to be put on a list, and I never obeyed this rule, but whatever, where there's things you don't talk about. Politics and religion. You know how everyone had that rule?
Yeah.
As soon as I heard that rule, I was like, that's the only two things I want to talk about now. But but okay. Despite what Premier Pinky Ring is saying today, that's what I call him now because he would look.
Does he have a pinky ring?
I don't know, but doesn't he look like a pinky ring in a way?
He does. Right. He looks more like a guy that eats cheesecake for breakfast, though.
Yeah,
like,
but if a guy was like going to turn into a pinky ring and had arms and legs and hair, I think he would look similar to Duckford. That's all I'm saying. But do you remember the guy that I was at a Raptors game once. You know those guys that like they get their little bangers behind the net and they think that they're actually making a difference?
That's all these people are.
That's what they are.
Yeah, totally.
They
but
went like
racist.
While LeBron James was shooting, and then LeBron James missed a free throw, and they thought it was them, right?
But racist white supremacists. Yeah, that's what they're here. They're here to ice our free throws of life. That's all they're doing. Yeah. Sorry, Ray, go ahead.
No, I agree with James, though. It's sort of filtering that friend group and I'll tell you one thing about the pandemic that was a positive for me is it really, the last 2 years, I've taken inventory of my life and realized what I need in life and what I don't. And I have cut a lot of people out of my life. And
it's the best
to me. But the weirdest part is it hasn't been hard. No. Like it hasn't been hard to do. We're in the past where if I've had to cut somebody away, even if they're the biggest asshole in the world, like I've always felt some sort of guilt. Where this time around, they're like, "Oh fuck, man, I'm not getting vaccinated." I'm like, "All right, fuck you. We're not friends anymore."
You know what? Like, honestly, I've felt guilt the other way around. I felt guilt about not picking up the phone to tell them how I feel because I know it's pointless. I've reached that point in my when I was 30 and I still had this thought that I was put on this planet to tell everybody the truth. And now I realize that no one gives a flying fuck about my version of the truth.
No.
I've stopped making those phone calls to tell people what I think because it's just I've realized how pointless it is. That's where my guilt is coming from now. Like I have cut people out of my life and I'm like, yeah, but I just stopped calling them. I wish I would have phoned them and told them exactly why.
You wanted the Schadenfreude of telling someone, I don't like you anymore? Is that I love you, man. I love you.
That's
more today than I ever have.
That's where my guilt's coming from.
Wait.
Not about losing that friendship.
I hate people too.
I love you too, man. I love you too. Anybody that's willing to cut a toxic fucking individual out of their life is all good by me. I mean, that's kind of what we did, right? Like, you know, this life that you live is about building that inner citadel inside yourself and making sure that you're okay, right? The eye opener for me happened last night. So I watched the Super Bowl all day. Like I know what these people are all about. We've been on the Ottawa racist white supremacist train.
Pretty hard.
Fairly hard with receipts. I bring receipts, okay? And let me just say this because I don't think I've verbalized this. And this is leading to the original conversation about the crazies. So let me just say this. The organizers of this thing and the hard extremes that are centered around what's going on in Ottawa and what's happened across the country, alt-right religious extremism, represented, as we've all known, by evangelical religious extremists. I come from a family of evangelicals. I actually really like my relationship with my family, and by and large, my family is none of those people. These people are to Christianity what jihadis are to Muslims, okay? These people are to Christians that feel like they have a sense of civic responsibility to this country, or the Americans, are the jihadis, the extremists. So yesterday I'm watching the Super Bowl. I didn't look at Twitter once. I had no idea, none. I had my buddy Pete over, his friends, kids. We had a ton of pizza. I didn't look at my phone once. We have people that do that for us, the socials. So I get off the air. I go upstairs, I get off the Super Bowl. Everybody leaves. We clean up. I go upstairs to get ready. My inbox is flooded with these lists. It's like, check out this donor list. I'm like, what's the donor list? So it turns out, Give, Send, Go, the evangelical extremist GoFundMe version of GoFundMe, which funded, by and large, January 6th insurrection.
What's it called?
It's called Give, Send, Go.
Give, Send, Go. Instead of
Yeah.
GoFundMe, it's Give, Send, Go.
You got it. Yeah. The religious zealots and extremists, not creative. So anyway, Give, Send, Go. It gets hacked yesterday by hackers. No idea where they are. I had no idea this was happening. It happened all day long.
Do they work for the Dean Blundell Podcast Network, these hackers?
No, they don't. No,
okay.
they don't.
I think I've seen now Anonymous has taken credit for this.
Yes. So Anonymous actually went in. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And they hacked it. And we actually put the list up that they hacked. Here's the Give, Send, Go donor list. Here it is. And you can get it at deanblundell.com. And after I posted and by the way, I have a complete list. I shared a link to someone else's list because we had to go through the legal channels last night. I'm like on the phone with lawyers at like 12 because I had no idea what this was. I had no idea they'd been hacked. I wasn't following it. I watched the fucking football game, ate a bunch of pizza, had some chili, sent everybody home, and all of a sudden I got this in my inbox. And I'm like, how do I do it? So we'll call lawyers. Lawyers are like, hey, listen, if you're pointing someone to sourced work and you didn't do the hacking and you're not doxing people, because doxing is when you actually go in, grab someone's address, physical address, you tell everybody where they live, all their personals.
More on that towards the end of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. They think they doxed me. They're sending someone to the wrong house. Anyway, long story short, last night was a fucking rip. I went to bed. I wake up this morning. We had 1.2 million people on our website. We had like 1.2 million people on our website from last night at 11:30 or 12 when the story went up, and we posted the link for people to go and find out who the businesses were, because that was what I was interested in, right? To the point where I didn't even go through the list. I looked for a couple of names, saw Mike Flynn on there, Sebastian Gorka, who, by the way, worked at the White House and sent us this really cool tweet today. Because I said, hey, guys, I tweeted this last night. I have the entire Give, Send, Go donor list. Just check them with legal. Nerds rule. Sebastian Gorka, who was Trump's right-hand misinformation cock. Oh, yeah. He tweets me, this will not end the way you expect it to.
It just did. I expected dumbasses to retweet it.
That's exactly what happened. And it wasn't just him. This guy was like, repent and turn to Christ before it's too late. Oh, right. You love Satan's dick in your mouth.
Jesus just loves it when his followers talk about Satan's cock being in someone's mouth. Jesus, that's his favorite go-to. I'm telling you.
Can I jump in here, Dean?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it was a bad idea for you to post this list.
I agree.
I don't think it was a good idea. I understand what the Dean Blundell
the list, dude. I did not post the list.
Okay,
and I didn't dox anybody.
Semantic.
What I did was I posted a story that had a tweet in it that had a link to the actual.
But what did you call the story again?
Do you want me to put up the title?
Please.
Yeah. So here's the whole Give, Send, Go donor list.
I didn't post the list.
I don't know. I understand.
I'm not bald.
Legally speaking, you're probably covered here.
Oh, I am.
Right. Yeah. But this is just.
Are you worried about dark forces?
No, it's not even that. I know you'll be fine. And this will all blow over. It's just, this is I know this wiring, right? Like, and I've had this my whole life. When I saw a hornet's nest in my yard when I was 5, I took my hockey stick and I beat it off the tree. I knew that I was going to get stung, but I had to hit that fucking hornet's nest. And I've had that kind of wiring my whole life. I'm trying really hard not to be the guy that takes a hockey stick to the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Because I'm over 50 now, and I'm trying to have less of that in my life. Dean, you still have this. You and I have a similar.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
You were sitting there giggling like an asshole last night at 11
o'clock. I saw that email, I was like, "Oh my god, this is fucking unbelievable!" You know how many people I'm going to piss off?
You know, as the outsider of the, like, I know I'm a part of the network, but I'm an outsider from this group.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for the balls that you have to post stuff like that, because I know the interactions I get talking about fucking football, which is probably the least important thing in the world. Someone sent me an 8-paragraph essay today about why I should stick to Canadian football and why I'm clueless. And I sent it to my producer. My producer said, man, he just gets angrier and angrier as he goes on. I was like, oh no, he got a lot of shit off his chest today. And my response was just, I don't like Canadian football. But
you need to read that whole letter, Ray. Like, that should be the start of your podcast.
Yeah, like tonight. Oh no, I am. That's our first segment.
Oh yeah, with like some really nice background music. I'm a big fan of the background music. It was
probably an ex-CFL player.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, but he was very, very upset. And I mean, I've spoken about this off air, Dean. Like, I've gotten death threats before. I've had people wish death on me because I have a different football opinion than they do. Like, I sit there and say, no, you're wrong. This is what the Patriots should do. Oh, I hope you get fucking cancer and die. Like, that's the reaction to me wanting Cam Newton to start this year instead of Mac Jones. So
imagine if
this shit, I can like the balls that you have. Like, I applaud you.
Huge.
Even the fact that you guys come out here and have this regular conversation. I'm going to say that.
And talk about 3 things before we get to this.
Yeah. A part of me was sitting here today going, okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a bad day already. I might as well just be a part of this podcast and just let it keep rolling. No, but I do. I have a lot of respect for it. I got a lot of respect for it.
You know what it was?
Ballsy. It's ballsy. I think it's ballsy too, but I do agree with Lachlan. And I'm wired the same way. You guys know that. Like, I've been, if I see an opportunity,
you would have stuck your dick in that hornet's nest.
I did, and they didn't even sting it. They respected it so much. It was amazing.
You would have fucked it. You would have fucked
the honey. The honey. Who's not going to be tempted by that honey?
Dean and I are hitting it with sticks. You got your dick in there.
I think it's ballsy. I am programmed that way as well. I thought this was a mistake because I get mad when Antifa does it to people that I don't disagree with. So then, therefore, I must disagree with the action, not necessarily why it's motivated, but that's just me. But what I think was really interesting about the list was that it mentions Trudeau 1,937 times. Because you can put in a message like MAGA forever and all that kind of stuff. It mentioned Trump only 102 times, Poilievre, whatever, 9 times. And then God was mentioned on this list 13,210
Wow.
times. It was hilarious, like, reading just for that kind of stuff. I searched in everything I could think of to see if I could find anyone noteworthy. I found Michael Flynn as you did. I searched by email address. There is a Candace Bergen from Canada that's on that list, but it's spelled differently. So I'm not sure if it's her or not, trying to be incognito. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried that you're going to get beat up because I don't think these people can read GPSs very well. And I think you'll be fine in that regard. But I wouldn't have done it because I don't agree with that kind of tactic. But I mean, I don't see why it has to be
like, a lot of people gave me a ton of credit over the past couple of days. Let's bring Bonzarelli in because why the fuck not? He's been waiting for like an hour and he's coming home and we're going to get to that in a minute.
Hey, boys.
But a lot of people
Did you pay him
thought,
yet, Bonzi? Did you pay him yet?
No. A lot of people thought and this is the truth, they thought I'd been like working on this for days. Like 40 people sent it to me yesterday in my email. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I didn't even know they were hacked to that point.
Yeah.
And then when I realized, Dean, you're just in for the content. This is the hottest story in the world right now. Pretend that you're the only one that has it. So I did. And it worked. Millions of views. Millions.
But
That's
look at
one of the
Carl.
reasons.
Carl's
Hang
going to
on.
send someone to the wrong house.
Now, not only that, these guys got so mad at me yesterday for
Here come the
suggesting
death
that I
threat.
had this. Like, even before I posted, I'm like, I got it. These guys got so mad at me yesterday. I got, threats to suck Satan's dick. This person tweeted, Dean, I just saw online people saying you doxed the wrong people who would put you in wood chippers. Looks like you're going to have to live in fear looking over your back 24/7. Maybe you should go into hiding. That was another
Is
one
that
I
a
got.
Fargo joke? That's
I think
hilarious.
so.
I don't know
This
what
is
that is.
Sebastian Gorka, who was Trump's right-hand asshole who drives a 10-year-old Mustang now because he's broke. This is a guy named Tony. Tony has been looking for me in the forest by my house. He's been combing through my tweets. Tony. How bored is Tony? Look at this. Currently looking for your house. This was a good self-provided clue, Dino. That was nowhere near my house, that action. I remember taking that picture. It was fucking hilarious. Then I got this one. This person says, when the New World Order globalist elites are slow euthanizing 3/4 of the planet, there's no time for niceties. COVID's a bioweapon. The vaccines are just a beginning. Your judgment is coming.
Wow.
Then I talked about the reason this protest was all white privilege. I said, you guys think responsibility is oppression. This guy, below me.
Maybe
Now-
he thought he was on Grindr.
I think he was putting feelers out. I don't think it was an insult.
I have
Pretty
a question.
Yeah.
It was
I have
probably
a
that guy
question.
that just walked in the background at Bonzi's.
Wait,
house in
I'm not done.
Nicaragua.
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry.
This
Oh,
is
keep
in our
going.
comment section. Hey, Dean, we see you not long till you're found and hung. This is Harry again. You'll be hung in your home. Best case. None of
Whenever
those
you walk
guys are
around
coming to
naked,
my
you're
house.
hung in your home, buddy.
Thank
You're good.
you. None of those, like, I've had, and I had a little count, 900 death threats, just over 900 death threats as of this morning.
That's one of the reasons why I wouldn't have done it. Here's
I don't deal
my,
with those, though. I
On the
give those
short
to a
list
nice
of
guy
things
named
you won't
Mr.
do.
on the
Yeah.
short list.
I
Hey,
give it to a nice guy named Mr. Benson. He gives it to his friends with the Force. And then these guys all get taken out of Twitter, or they get phone calls, or someone goes to their house. It's not mine to deal with. Like, that's the other part of this crazy fucking crew of losers and lunatics. It's like, you're threatening to kill me online. And they're all from the States. Like, all of them. All of them. And, like, pedophile. That was another. You're a total pedophile. Dude, let's just go through some of them. This is another one. I like this. Dean just doxed thousands of Give, Send, Go donors on Twitter. Then I realized Dean is Back to the Future Biff.
Hey,
But he tagged
you
this
stole
guy
that
named
joke from me. That was
Jack,
one of my jokes.
Jack Prosobiec. I don't know who Jack Prosobiec is, but he CC'd him. A lot of famous people tweeted. This lady found out her dad was on the list after we posted it, and she was pissed. And then this person's like, be proud your father isn't against wickedness and supports the restoration of your people. Again, another nod to white supremacy. This guy's good. Dean, rattling colonists out of King George. This is another one. Some guy's telling me to delete my stuff. Doxing. Did you just remember? This is wrong. Twitter safety. I contacted Twitter. There have been over 180,000 requests to suspend my account. I'm still going strong.
Wait, 180,000?
Is like reported people saying, get rid of this guy. And it's all from this community of
Not
alt-white
one word?
leftists. No, not one. Still here.
Okay, here's my question about this, and this is a legitimate question, and this has been bothering me now for months. When I got vaccinated, I told people about it. It wasn't something that I felt like I needed to go on the show and make an announcement. It's not in my Twitter bio, but I talked about it on my show, and I told my family. And when I got the second vax, we talked about it. When I got the third one, I talked about it. If I felt strong enough about a movement that I wanted to give them money to help the cause, I would have no problem. If Ray found out that I gave money to a cause and sent me a note on social media, hey, I heard you gave $50 to so-and-so, right? Like, I sent Rob Gill $50 because he got his ass handed to him, and he's he works fine in trouble. I didn't need anybody to announce it, but if somebody found out that I gave that money, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't understand why people are so angry about, if they think that they're on the right side of history here and that everyone else is wrong, why are they so wildly upset when somebody finds out they're not vaccinated, one,
and they donated to the Canadian insurrection,
and that they donated to some cause they believe so strongly in that they went to pocket? I don't understand. If you are that proud, or if you're that concerned about where we're at and you did that, why is it such an issue that you got
people know you donated?
I don't know.
Because it has your postal code, it has your email address, it has I think those are actually, and your IP address, right? So it's
but like, more. Dude, I've received I got a call this morning from our CEO George, who manages our back end, and he's like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, we have thousands of comments in our comments section of people that want to hurt you, and I'm like, just turn it off. I mean, it's the fastest way to deal with that.
I had somebody phone me in Edmonton that wants to know if he should send you security. And I'm like, well, let me get on the pod first. I'll find out how he's doing.
Oh, dude, I had like so many people involved in those groups that have motorcycles phone me and go, if you want me to kick someone's ass, let me know. Like through different friends. Like in the last 12 hours, I'm like, can you guys stop offering to whoop ass for me?
Yeah.
Like I just forward them to Mr. Benson. He gets all of them, and then he goes to their house. Like, you remember that Jeremy McKenzie guy that got rinsed a couple of weeks ago for being an alt-right supremacist, waving his handgun around? We talked about him on the show. My interactions all went to Mr. Benson.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. It's not mine to figure. So when people get this angry about something, to Lachlan's point, you have to wonder why, right? Like, if you're so proud of your religion and you're so proud of how you feel,
of the
and you're
cause
so
and the movement,
proud of it, and you're fucking behind it 100%, and someone's like, did you donate? Okay. You don't threaten to kill someone for releasing that information. You should still be really fucking proud about it, right?
I think, though, where people might get upset, it's the ones who weren't being public about it. We discussed this actually on my show last week because I had a guy on and we were talking about the Brian Flores story, and I was telling you off air, Dean, I lost 100 subscribers in one shot because I said racism's wrong, right? And but I was straight up with him.
No. You said racism is bad and you lost 100
I did.
subscribers?
And one night. And I woke up the next morning, I was short 100 subscribers because we talked about, and that was a week after I'd already lost 100 for saying there was systemic racism amongst NFL fans. And then we talked about the Brian Flores story, and I lost 100. But I was telling him, though, I said, I started my platform in 2017. Up until about 2020, I never really would have had the courage to stand up and say racism is bad, even though that's how I strongly felt, because I would be scared of the blowback from the racists, until I got a little bit more comfortable in my skin and realized, why the fuck do I want their validation, right? Like, that's not the type of people I even want watching me. But I think that there's people out there that support a cause behind the scenes, but they don't want it to be made public because there's people I know who aren't vaccinated, and I found out by fluke because they didn't want anybody to know, and they kind of had to admit it at some point because it was work stuff. And I think that's the thing. People have stances, but they're not vocal about it. And lists like this are now exposing those people who are trying to promote and take a stance behind the scenes.
That's actually
Ray, you understand what I'm saying.
Interesting, though. Can I, if I quickly, Lachlan, do you mind?
No.
Because what I find really interesting about what you just said, Ray, is that in the analogy of like politics versus what you just said, the NFL becomes the conservative party, or maybe even Max Bernier's party, in the sense that you're not a racist just because you like football or Max Bernier. But if you are racist, the chances are you're going to like football or Max Bernier. But the interesting thing is what you did is what politicians never do, which is state implicitly, no, fuck you, racist. I don't need you to watch my football podcast. That's not what politicians do. They might not enact policies that say Jews need to go live in a ghetto near Hook or Harvey's, but they'll placate the crowd that wants that to happen. And by you being able to say, fuck it,
off.
racist, I don't want you, and then you lose subscribers, dude, that takes balls. You know, like I was telling you guys last week or whenever it was, whenever I would write a piece criticizing Trudeau criticizing Trudeau, I would gain a lot of followers. Then next week I would write a piece criticizing Trump, I'd lose basically every follower I made the week before. I knew a long time ago that I could have just criticized the left for the rest of my fucking life and gained, I would have had 20, 30,000 followers on Twitter right now. I've basically leveled out at 3,000 followers for 4 years, despite having dozens of pieces that have gone viral.
We got 3,000 this morning, new ones. If you want some, I'll give you some.
Okay. Yeah, send them over to me. Tell them I'm not as bad as they think.
Even I'm like reaping the benefits of all this craziness. Like my Twitter's been like every morning I get up, I got like 20 new. Why? I didn't even say anything. But
part of this that, you know, and you both bring up great points, is I made a decision a couple of weeks ago when I saw what was going up in Ottawa. Like, I made a conscious decision to not treat that group like human beings. Conscious decision. And the reason why I made that conscious decision
hasn't been that obvious.
Those people.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Those people that are there,
give or take,
and those people that were in Windsor, Ottawa, the people that are the same people. And dude, I'm tired of fucking saying it. They're the same people that have taken great pleasure in paralyzing an already paralyzed group of people just trying to do their fucking best, right? So when I saw them go to Ottawa and not move, and we started to interview people like Paul Atkinson, the blue jacket guy, and Marianne Iveson, who have had breakdowns over this, who've had to leave their houses, who've been held hostage by alt-white supremacists.
Paul had a breakdown in the streets of Ottawa.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. It was Click City. And I've talked to these people as human beings, right? And I've seen the way that this group of extremists, legitimate religious extremists, treat everybody else because they're being told no. You cannot get everything you want. You cannot get everything you want and then subject us to the joke that is your life. And so I had to just decide in my mind, and it came at a cost. There's family I feel this way about. I can't have anything to do with any of those fucking people anymore. And then when the videos started coming out of, you know, people scaring citizens and making them feel like shit, and then the job losses at Huron Church in Windsor, I thought, I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. I am going to, from now on, I am not programming any content for anyone in that community of either religious extremists or those who think that they should be allowed to be cocksuckers and subject everybody else to that cocksuckery under the name of freedom.
Including the video of them putting the bouncy castle up for the kids.
Yes, that one too. They don't matter. They do not matter in the discourse of this country. And you can look at me and you can go, you want a two-tier society. That's just fucking fun stuff you guys say to make us look mean. You guys have treated all kinds of people like shit. And we're tired of it. And I drew a line that said, if there's any way I get to show the work of this group that shows legitimately what they're all about, that's what I'll do. Every single person that got pissed that I put that list up, I didn't put the link for the list up. I should change the title of the fucking thing, actually. Good idea. The link for the list
Just change
of donors, businesses, people. Every single person that's mad is mad for one reason and one reason only. They've been allowed to operate with impunity like these fucking kooks up in Ottawa for the last 2 years. And finally someone said, and will I get in trouble for it? I don't know. I don't give two fucks. I don't care. I've crossed my I's and dotted my T's, and if there's legal ramification or a lawsuit to come out of this from some fucking loser like Steve Bannon's boy, Raheem Salim, did you see him tweet us? He tweets me. He was arrested for stealing millions of the border wall funding with Steve Bannon. Remember when Steve Bannon went to jail?
Yeah.
He went too.
That's why I recognize that name.
Raheem Salim, he tweets me, he's like, you're going to fucking jail. I'm like, you live in California and you're still going to fucking jail way before me for anything because I watched you get arrested on TV, you dumb fuck. Like, Every single person that has come at me has nefarious ideas, is a complete fucking loser, has an agenda that says, I want to make the world around me pay for my fucking sadness because I pick wrong every day of my life. That's all that is. And so it's my
a lot
pleasure
of them are
when someone
armed
says,
as well.
yeah, I know that. But
Okay.
they're mostly in the States.
Maybe
And
we should
here's
take
the other
this-
thing is that I don't care. Like, there's nothing these cats can do to me to take away the freedom or peace of mind that I have. It doesn't matter to me. Literally, every single one of these tweets that I got yesterday, every single one, this guy said I'd turn in Anne Frank. I'm like, that's not true. I would never turn in Anne Frank. This guy, Blundell's
You
tweets
couldn't
reported for
find
targeted
him. How would you
harassment.
find
I wouldn't encourage others to do the same, and you have a time making his behavior known to law enforcement. This guy's like, call the FBI. Someone, Brother K says, FBI, can he just obtain folks' financial information and go through? It's unbelievable to me. And then I got an email from Lee Starling. Guy loses his mind about karma and careers and golden rules and how God's coming for me. And then this person add my name, you Nazi, call me Nazi. It's like, it is beyond the pale. It is outside of emotional stability. It is outside of intellectual stability. And all of those people involved in this Ottawa thing and I pinned you from the beginning, you fucks. Pat King, I pinned you. I pinned Tamara Leach. I pinned Ben Dichter. All your money's gone. You guys have nothing anymore. Give, Send, Go is now in the hands of Doug Ford because his daughter was caught up in the cult. You guys are going to be everything you've tweeted and said to me.
funny
Is,
if she got fined.
oh, dude, she's going to get it too. But everything you've said to me and everything you've tweeted to me doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's all empty shit that just turns around and makes us more money because of all the engagement. That's it. All
Can
you
I say
people
something?
did was make us more money
Yeah.
in the last 24 hours.
I'm
So
going to
thank
say
you.
something, but I want to preamble this. I'm going to pull a page out of Lachlan's book and preamble this. First of all, Dean, I love you.
I love you.
I like that we don't necessarily agree on everything and we can still get along and it's no big deal. I think this is a kind of a case of you kind of get what you give. I personally don't believe that every single person that went to a protest is a complete piece of shit. And I think that when you speak like that, I know what you mean. I know, hell, even if you mean it, I know that you're a good person. So I don't care. And I know what good content is and all that kind of stuff. So all that being said, we did kind of engage, we as a network, I think, in a little bit of language that isn't exactly careful. Like there are people that are at this protest that are probably really good people. I think it's a lot more diverse than we give it credit for. That doesn't take away your greater point, which is that it has been co-opted by Christian extremists. It has been co-opted by people with questionable views. It's organized by people with questionable views. All of that is true. But I think that you went to the alley. And you got a chain, you took off your shirt and you said, let's fucking do it. And they're trying their best to do it with you. And I think you're winning. Also, I think Trudeau just said that he's going to do the Emergency Act has just been enacted. And apparently, if we believe what we're seeing in the chat, that it doesn't include the army as of yet. That is another two-step by Trudeau, which is like,
What do you mean? Like Trudeau
The
just
Emergency
announced
Act.
that he's. So they've enacted the Emergency Act.
They needed
If
the
we
NDP.
believe our chat people, then yeah, I haven't Googled it or anything. But
I heard it looked like it was going to come down before I jumped on the pod, so that does not surprise me. And they were holding a meeting, whatever, to try to pass it. So
the Emergencies Act without the military is the interesting part. That is the attempt at being a moderate by Trudeau. And it might work. I think that it might.
Will we see taserings finally?
It's weird because I need to read about it, but it's weird because it's like, we're going to call the Emergencies Act as the protests are being dismantled.
James, that's nice.
Yeah.
All that stuff that you're intellectually trying to share with all of our friends, that's great. Will we see some taserings? Are we going to see some pant pissing? Are we going to see people shit themselves? Are we going to see paddy wagons? And I agree with you, and I said it earlier in the podcast, and I say it all the time. Listen, there are a lot of good people that are mixed up in this thing that legitimately think they're fighting for truckers. They're not. And I feel sorry for them. Some guy tweeted today, he's like, he gave so much money to the trucker GoFundMe, which wasn't a trucker GoFundMe. It was just alt-right money meant to go to political aspirations and bullshit, and to pay the wrong people, man. You guys got fucked. All of you got fucked. Look at me carefully. Every single person in Ottawa, no matter how you got there, you got fucked, right? But bottom line is this guy was arrested in Windsor. He doesn't have enough money to pay for a lawyer because he gave all the money to the GoFundMe, and now he's got his own GoFundMe, and no one will donate to him because he doesn't have anything, right? Like, there are some sad stories here when it comes to that, and I couldn't agree with you more. There are a lot of loving people, kind people, good people who are down the road with this because of their belief systems and their leanings. Yeah. And that's not why that list came out. Maybe it came out to shame or publicly shame people. But this is an insurrection. This is not a fundraiser for truckers and their families and diapers and shit. This is a fundraiser for some really fucking terrible people. Like awful, awful, awful fucking individuals that have made North America question the security that it has. Individuals on a daily basis wonder if we're ever going to get back to a society that actually respects the color of people's skin, or if we ever were. I mean, these are...
It's done a lot of damage to our reputation as a country. It has.
When you guys say it's brave, I don't think it is. You know what I think it is? I think all we have to do is show their work. And that is all I did with that yesterday. I didn't mention names. I didn't go after people. I didn't suggest that, they need to be brought up on charges. None of that shit. All I said was, here it is. Have a look. See if you see some friends and family on there. This was an insurrection. This is not right. It made this entire country feel uncomfortable. And unlike mainstream media who was like, what's going to happen tomorrow? Are the truckers, like, the fact that they're still calling these fucking guys truckers blows my mind. Yeah. And so for me to just tell the truth, like, here, this is what it is. Here's the behavior of this group. Here's how they're acting. Make your own decisions. Here's who they are. This is why they're not Canadian. Not once has this group screaming freedom for all Canadians done anything for the benefit of anybody else, for themselves and their fucking bullshit crew. Not once.
But the ballsiness and bravery are two different things. And I'm not taking anything away from what you did, because I've done stuff like that before too. I leaked that letter to on Twitter once, where Vic Fideli would get on TV and slam Patrick Brown for sexual misconduct, and no one knew that at that exact moment he had a sexual misconduct complaint against him. So I found the document of the complaint, and I was like, well, fuck that, and I just released it on Twitter.
Did you get in trouble?
So I get that, right? But once when I was a kid, I took a rotten pumpkin and I dropped it off a bridge onto a security guard's head. Now, that wasn't brave, but it was ballsy because I had to run. You know what I mean? What you did was similar in a sense. It wasn't brave to post the list, but it was ballsy because you had to deal with all the blowback, right? Yeah. Like, that's a little...
Yeah. It was, and it's the response to the blowback as well. It makes me upset when I see the right Christian alt, whatever the fuck they are, coming at you. I've been on this show before, and I've told you my beliefs and my faith, and I think that people need to understand who you're going after and not take things personally. And I mean, I'm bringing it back to just what I know, but when I say NFL fans are racist, if you're not, and you're not racist, I'm not talking about you, right? But if I say NFL fans are racist and you start writing me, calling me a white knight and go fuck yourself and this and that, then I probably struck a nerve because you're probably a fucking racist, right? And you felt like I personally called you out online.
But do you think you should say it like that, though, Ray?
Yeah, I do.
You don't think you should you be careful and be like, you know what? Some NFL fans, they can be racist. You don't think that's a little more...
James, there was times last week when you guys went, I think in my mind, a little too far with your God comments, and I had to turn off the show. You know what I mean? Oh. There was some pictures like that one of Jesus today that I kind of had to flick away, but I'm still here. You know what I mean? Because I knew that you guys weren't sitting here saying, hey, Ray, your God is fake, or hey, Ray, look at this picture. You know what I mean? I knew what the responses were towards. So I didn't get upset about it. I have my own moral stuff that I have to live with on a daily basis, and I'm going to go about my life on a daily basis. I didn't boycott it. I didn't leave the network. I didn't come here. So if I come out and say, hey, yeah, the NFL is full of racism amongst the fan bases, if you're not, you fucking know you're not. You know what I mean? Just like when you guys are going after the quote unquote Christians, I know for a fact you're not going after me. I don't sit there and take offense by it. You know what I mean?
But I think we're going after the idea more so than the person. You know what's funny? I had a Jesus moment just today, and I'm not being funny at all. I went to go pick up my prescription on the way home from the shrinks, and the pharmacy was taking a while. That's why I was late to be on the show, right? What?
No,
just
nothing.
a lot to unpack.
There was a lot of honesty in that one sentence. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. It has to do with my stepmother and I have PTSD and undiagnosed shit that made me crawl in the fetal. But anyways, I'm waiting for this guy to fill in my prescription, and we start talking, and he tells me that he hands me this card. I have it somewhere. Anyways, it's like a psalm, and I was like, oh, here we go. And he's like, are you a Christian? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, if you want to know the truth, and whatever you believe is fine. I just don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. And then he started telling me that he saw Jesus once and everything, because I asked him, I'm like, I'm going to need Jesus to come down and literally shake my hand in order to believe. That's just how I'm programmed. But then he told me his son died. And he told me that, like, his son died recently. And he, his son was like 30 or something. And I said, the reason why he told me that is because I said to him, I'm like, I'll give you one thing. I'm envious of people who believe in God during times of grieving, because I am completely jealous that you truly believe that your loved one is in a better place. I would kill to have that feeling for loved ones who have died. And so I'm a little envious about that. And he came around the counter and was like, and looked at me and was like, my son died. And Jesus was the only thing that got me through. Holy fuck. And I hugged this man. And this is just a really long-winded way of saying it's not really about the belief in Jesus that I think Dean, Lachlan, and I razz people for. It's about how they weaponize it. Sorry for the trail off, guys, but Ray, I want you to feel comfortable here. You know what I mean?
Totally, dude. Like, listen, I grew up in it, so I got a different axe to grind, right? Like, I grew up in forced to get baptized, going to church groups where they're like, don't masturbate, the devil gets into your body through the penis. And I'm like, what's fucking happening here? I'm 12. And all this stuff that came with it. So I was like, I have personal things but I always try to scrape away the group of extremists from the larger group, because, like you, and to James's point, I don't want to steal someone's mental security from them by telling them that I disagree and here's why. Right? Like, I don't know if you've seen Afterlife 3 with Ricky Gervais. Fucking brilliant. Brilliant. How everything that he ever did in his life, even, like, I thought that was almost like him laying down his sword against religion, so to speak, because he's really outspoken against religion, God, the afterlife, all that stuff. And one of the things at the end of it, he was talking to this kid who was talking about heaven, like, will I go to heaven if I get cancer? And he's like, yeah, you will, dude. You'll for sure. And he doesn't believe in it. And he makes that point time and time and time again. And it gave me the chills when I was watching it, because I thought, I can understand. And I do troll that in that group, but everything is legitimately directed at the ones that misrepresent the whole. My mother, my father, right?
All right,
both of them Christian people, lovely people, brothers are reverend. My sister is full into this movement. And everybody knows where I stand. Where I stand is that something that is bad for the hive is bad for the bee. When someone hurts another human being, and I feel this way about fucking all protests, if you want me to be honest with you. I don't care which one it is. The idea of protests in themselves, hey, listen, we're angry. We want to go tell the world we're angry. We're going to stop traffic, prevent people from getting home, getting to doctor's appointments, just to tell you how fucking angry we are. And there are a lot of people that have justified anger. This is not that, right? This is not that. This is an attempt to hurt human beings who have been hurting for 2 solid fucking years. And I don't care what religion anybody believes in. One of my great pals, Mubin Sheikh, great guy, practicing Muslim. He and I have tremendous conversations. The guy that was at my house last night enjoying the Super Bowl thinks the trucker rally's great. I enjoyed my night with him because we didn't talk about any of this shit, because he doesn't understand the inner workings and who those people are. To Ray's point, I need to be better about how I troll that group so that I don't offend the whole. But I find the whole to be wholly offensive.
No, and well, I got 2 points to make. Number one, anybody who hasn't seen Afterlife, you should be pissed at Dean because he just spoiled one of the fucking most impactful points of that show. I can't believe he just did that.
Sorry.
That's the most offensive thing I've heard you ever say on the
too
show.
much.
When you were going,
Ricky
I was
Gervais
like,
spent
shut the fuck
17
up.
and 3/4 episodes, 17 and 3/4 episodes not giving anything to religious people.
Sorry.
And you just fucking...
You just fuck.
Sorry,
I'd be
sorry,
pissed
Ray,
if
go
you
ahead.
haven't seen it yet. He just ruined it. No, but that was the point I was making. I don't think you should because listen, people need to make their own decisions about what they're comfortable with and what they're not. Like I said, when you say Sky Daddy, it makes me laugh. Like it's something that actually makes me chuckle and laugh, and it's funny. There's Seth MacFarlane makes jokes about God that make me laugh. Like when Jesus picks up the phone, tells Joseph, "You're not my dad," and he calls God up in heaven. Like that's funny to me. You know what I mean? Like you can make those kind of jokes. I also know when you guys are sending those pictures or when you guys are going at people, I know you're not going at Ray. You know what I mean? Like I know you're not sitting there going like, "Oh, I know this is going to piss Ray off when I send this picture." It's because
it's quite the opposite. Sometimes I'll be posting a picture of sexy Jesus and I'll go, "Fuck, sorry, Ray." In my mind, and I'm not even kidding. I'm like, "Oh, but all the people that I love that are
but I know
normal."
you do it, though, and I think anybody who's normal understands why you're doing it because we're not the ones going to you, fucking attacking you about because everything they're doing to you, which is why I want to have a discussion with them, is the fucking Bible. Oh, I shouldn't say fuck. Sorry, the Bible tells us.
Thou shalt not say fuck. Yeah.
The Bible tells us not to weaponize God.
Yeah.
They also, I've read some of the things they put to you where they misquote the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
The very last scripture says anybody who doesn't basically the way to say it, anybody who plagiarizes the Bible, it's one of the most major sins that you can do because they're weaponizing it. So whether you guys believe me or not, I'm talking to the people who do believe. You're not following the Bible at all. Your religious leaders who are scamming you for all your money are not leading you into salvation. And all you have to do is read the book yourself and you'll see it in there. Yeah. The first story tells you not to do and send what you're sending to Dean and others. Yet you guys are all so fucking stupid. And I love that, you're judging. 5 times in the Bible, it says, he without sin cast the first stone. 5 times they talk about there's one and true judge, and yet you guys send out judgment on a daily basis. A lot of you people who are telling Dean that he's going to go to hell or that he sucks the devil's dick, very holy of you, need to take a fucking look in the mirror.
Do you think the devil's cut or uncut? He's cut, right?
And
he's an angel.
As someone who is a born again Christian, I was in the cult. Like this cult, like the extreme, like going door to door and telling people about the good news when you're like 14, craziness, right? And then there are people that just have a relationship with God and they're Christian people. They believe in the lessons of Jesus. That's it. That's the difference. This person believes in the lessons of Jesus and they're like, repent and turn to Christ before it's too late. Oh yeah. Right. You love Satan's dick in your mouth. And I'm like, fucking perfect. I'll use it against him.
And I'm going to tell you, as a God-loving and God-fearing person, that makes me angrier than your response. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get angry at your response. That makes me angry. And I know I'm not even supposed to feel, but that makes me angry because if I now want to have a conversation with people who can't look beyond the 2 feet in front of them and I want to bring up my beliefs in God, I'm automatically lumped into these fucking psychopaths on the other side. And I'm going to call them what they are. And God, I'm just killing my career today. But anyways, like, these psychopaths on the other side.
But doesn't it feel good to just like,
it does,
because we've been bottled. Like everybody's been bottled with this whole thing, and me to a lesser extent because I don't have the same hangups that a lot of other people do. They don't work for other people and all that stuff. But just to be able to go, hey, listen, as weird as this is going to sound, here's how I feel. Right? It fucking feels good. It feels great to say no. It's not about me being right. This is what you did to human beings was wrong, man. It was wrong. What you've continued to do to human beings because you didn't get what you wanted was wrong. I don't care what you believe. If these guys were from a different faction or organization, I would shit all over them the exact same. I just have the benefit of knowing everything they're going to say before they say it and then being able to combat it because I grew up in it. It's a fucking, to me, the way it is being portrayed, it deserves to be dealt with. So I'm dealing with it. And however that comes up, I'm fine to deal with that too, because I'm tired of people hurting each other, to be completely fucking honest with you.
No,
Well,
and
Ray,
That's if you're
I-
confident
Ray,
in your God, none of this would bother you. If
I
you're
would have
confident in what you believe in, you know.
Yeah.
I would have a very different outlook if I clicked on your show and it was, all right, guys, I was reading John 3:16 today, and I'm going to tell you why it's bullshit. You know what I mean? And if that was your constant, like you were purposely attacking beliefs, then I would be like, all right, Dean, I don't want to cause a thing with you, but I don't think this is working with us anymore. You know what I mean? Like you're starting to push me too far, but I understand why you guys bring it up. You know what I mean? I've never seen you guys just attack religion without there being some sort of ammunition for itself, right? And that's where I can see through it. That's where I can see the difference between the conversations, and that's where I'm comfortable being a part of this because I know where it's coming from. We have different beliefs. The Bible tells me we're going to have different beliefs. And even if you don't believe in God, if you took any sort of 12-step program, they're going to talk about people having different beliefs, right? In different ways and looking for higher powers. So I think that what it comes down to is you got to look at the context behind it. And it's why I don't have a problem being here. And this all started because I called NFL fans racist, but it's kind of the same thing. You have to understand where the attacks are going and who they're towards and who they're not towards. And I think there's people out there that get offended when it has nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm. Locke, you wanted to say something before Ray was excellent there.
No. I just wanted to I wanted to just say, Ray, I have just a tremendous amount of respect for you, and I don't think you should be guilty about what you've shared with us today or in past podcasts, just because I think you're just a real guy. Like I get that sense, and I think 99% of the people that will ever watch this will get the exact same impression. They won't be putting you into some sort of box that you're worried about, that you may have worried about putting yourself into, because I think people just see that you're just a good shit, just trying to figure it out like the rest of us.
Dude, you're my kind of person. You're Lachlan's kind of person, and we believe in none of the same things because you believe in humanity. You believe in being kind to your neighbor. You believe in living out of self, right? Living out of self. You and I were a little 12-stepper there. We're a little 12-steppers. But you are here. You're terra firma. These people are not, man. These people are not.
Good Christian. You're a good Christian.
Great Christian. I wish all Christians were like you. We wouldn't be here.
I had a similar experience that you did at the age of 12, Dean. I was pulled aside by my mother and told I couldn't masturbate in public. So I do share some of that guilt revolving around the masturbation thing. She said that.
Can I tell you the story?
It's like a Holocaust every time.
Let's bring the professional masturbator Bonzi into this one. Hi, Bonzi. Let me tell you.
Nice segment, pal. Thanks.
Ray,
Ray's
have a good one.
Go. Love you, Ray. You have a great day. Thank you so much for your time. I'm
Thanks,
going to
guys.
talk to you soon. That's my brother, Ray. Ray, we're out. He believes in the good news. I don't. But we believe that we need to be kind to each other. That's the difference, right? Me putting up a link to
He's
a
a
list.
smart fucker, too.
Oh, fuck. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a social worker. He works with people that are underprivileged. Dude's
Yeah.
a social worker in his spare time. Fucking unbelievable guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Masturbating in public. Apparently,
here's
it was
my February
frowned
14th Valentine's dates tonight. We got lefty and righty. We're gonna have a threesome tonight after the show. Live tripping with Bonzi on YouTube. Not a big deal.
Don't
Bonzi's
film that.
back.
My
Did you
mom
hear
would
some of
say.
that? Have you been following us on Twitter today? Pretty cool.
I have,
huh?
yeah. It's been crazy, man. It's hard to keep up with you guys. You guys are on fire. Like, it's crazy. And well, it's hard to keep up with what's going on there, living my life here, going through the trials and tribulations that I am. And it's almost like, man, do I want to come home and into all that? But yeah, I do, and I need to. And so
Go ahead, make your announcement.
kind of that's hers. I'm coming home. I'm leaving Nicaragua. I love it here, but listen, for Bonnie to grow and get better and fix myself, I start therapy on Wednesday, which is kind of breaking news too. I can't sit here and go to a therapist and think I'm going to get better whilst I'm in a country where it's a party town.
Cocaine is
loved
$20 a gram.
It's that's cheap too. It's just as great as an idea I thought it was going to be. and I don't like the cold and stuff. For me to advance, not only up here and get better, but even for my career, I can't be here and waste 3-4 months in paradise. I'm coming home. I'm going to make this a vacation. And I had this revelation kind of in the night last night. I woke up in the middle of the night after the Super Bowl. Great game. Had a great time last night with people. But I just realized that, man, I'm really, I'll be honest with you. And that's why I'm here. And I text you today, Dean, to start therapy. Because I know it's going to open wounds that I have never, ever kind of dealt with. And I'm scared to deal with. But at the same time, it's going to be, I had one of those moments last night in the middle of the night. It was just like, as scary as it was. And I fucking cried all the morning. Like my eyes are puffy as shit. But it was one of those emotional good cry days where I know that what I'm doing and what out in the last 24 hours is fucking exhilarating, dude. And I feel so much more free, kind of, that I've never felt before. I'm excited, as scared as I am to start therapy. I'm scared. I'm terrified. But I know it's only going to be better.
Can I ask you a question, Bonzi?
Yeah, please.
I was going to say something funny, and then you dropped all that stuff, so now I will not try to be funny. But
I will.
Go ahead, dude.
I know.
Soon as
I know,
you
but hold
guys are
on.
ready for it. Just give me
Hold on. Okay, fine. I was going to open with, let's see, last night, middle of the night, woke up feeling depressed. That means you did blow on Friday. But anyways,
no, it doesn't.
I'm just kidding. But when it comes to the fear that you have about therapy, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm being very honest about this. You're right to be afraid. And you should be afraid, and you should face that fear and feel all of it, because when I've seen psychotherapists in my adult life a bunch of times, I wasn't even honest with them until the last time that I started going, and it was because I had quit drinking, and all of a sudden I realized, like, holy crap, I have these feelings that are like literally destroying me. I need to figure this out. And then when you figure out that you've had, in my case, like probably 24 instances of like hardcore PTSD that you've never even identified, let alone dealt with, you are even more afraid. And then when you start realizing that you got to just deal with it, you feel like you're on a mission. So the fear becomes like almost like a gas tank where you're like, okay, I have a bunch of fear. How am I going to deal with this? It won't necessarily go away. But dude, if you're ready to take the step, and this isn't a manic moment for you, which is important to try to distinguish your manic moments from your crossroads moments, which is like when you make an actual turn and a direction change, I think you're going to be in a few months like so pleased with yourself, despite the fact that you're probably at least 6-7 years from becoming a little bit normal, you know?
Not one thing in what you just said is comforting, and I fucking loved it.
Set a goal.
6-7
years, you might approach normal, Bonzi.
Not one thing he said in there is comforting. He's like, Bonzi, it's good for you. I just want to let you know, you should be scared.
Hell.
It's going to be 12 years long. You're going to hate it. You got PTSD to uncover you don't even know about yet, and he's right. He's right.
No, he is right. And sorry, Dean, cut you off. I know the real PTSD that I have, we're going to have to break through that. That's going to lead into breaking into other PTSD issues that I don't even know I have, that I kind of know I have. And for the first time in my life, I'm ready. And being down here, as much as it is amazing and I love it, and you know, it's not the right time to be here in the frame of mind, and we need to deal with this right now. And so I'm doing.
You bad crier. You got.
Oh, for sure he is.
Yeah, guaranteed. You're a terrible.
What do you mean a bad? No, I'm not
like an ugly crier.
I just
I am.
not really bad.
I'm
a crier. I'm a crier.
I'm a terrible crier. Yeah.
I didn't grow up on the river and was fucking hard.
What's wrong with you fucking guys? I don't cry.
See, like
None
that's
of you fucking assholes
from
should
you
be
and
crying.
me, motherfucker.
You know what? You don't cry. You've only had one serious relationship.
I'm seriously, I might tear up, on a Canadian Tire ad, but that's about as far as it goes. Does this have anything?
Honey, look at those lights that guy hang outside from Canadian Tires.
Listen, Bonzi, I have a question for you. First off, disappointed you're leaving because I
Yeah,
think
because you're jealous and you would love to be down here and doing this, but you
The
I
worst
totally-
fucking
5
group
million
of
years
friends
and
you'll
you're-
ever have.
You
James
are
just
a
shit all over you.
total
Locke
wimp.
just called you a pussy.
total wimp for leaving. You could
Well,
suck it up. You
I
could
was going to
stay
go,
down
guys,
there.
to visit him.
So
I was planning on
miserable
going
that
in like 6 weeks to go visit Bonzi in Nicaragua. Bonzi's like, it's like $500 for a return flight. And then I was like, yeah, but what about lodging? And he's like, maybe you can stay with me. And I was like, oh, okay. And then
They
you know
won't
what?
go.
You know why I said that thing about the cocaine at the beginning of this? Because that's what I would have done. $20 a gram? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but
2
that's
years
not
of
my jam
sobriety
here.
would have been
I'm a-
over.
I'm a
I would have
boozer.
done an 8-ball in the first night. It would have been
You're a
awful.
boozer? As you said,
Yeah, and
you're a
I
boozer?
the getting into the
So hold
world
it.
here
Did you
wouldn't
just
have been
get
a good idea.
wasted a couple of times and go, fuck, this is no good? Because you get the blues, right? You get the booze blues.
I
Did
do.
you get wasted a few times without telling us? Is that the deal? Is it?
No,
you been drinking a little bit too much?
I got absolutely wasted last night, but
Okay.
well, the Super Bowl, not absolutely wasted. We had a
So,
great
yes, you
time
did.
and it was really fun, but this has been leading up. I'm not comfortable, even though where I'm staying is fabulous. The views are great. It's just, dude, I'm not driving with it. I'm not feeling.
Does it have anything to do with your former bus buddy down
I
there
know it
wanting to
has
stab
nothing
you?
to do. I haven't even seen her. Haven't dealt with her since. It's haven't seen her once. This is all about me, and I know I was gonna get some backlash. Oh, is it this? Is it this? No, you know what? I can sit here and say it's honestly about me wanting to be a better person and wanting to get to a point in my life where, dude, doing this therapy for me is the biggest decision I've ever made. And I need to go and deal with that and deal with my problems and not run anymore. And I have been running for sure. You guys called it years ago, you know?
Yeah.
When
When
I
you
took
said
off
you're
from
going
the
back
bus.
to Nicaragua, I was like, dude, you're
You're
going
a
to be
bit of an
shocked to find
open
yourself
book,
when you
Bonzi.
get there.
Yeah, and I thought
You're
it
a
would be
little easy
okay
to
to
read.
record down here and I could do everything and still do this. And it's kind of taken me away from my goal in life of coming down here. Yeah, I can still read every day and stuff and do my work, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And it felt the same. It's so much different, even on the bus, being at my parents for a month. I thought I could come down here and bring some great content, which I could, but I'm just not jiving with it. And if you're not jiving with it, why waste time? I want to get better. And the only way to do that, I could do therapy here, dude, but it's not going to go over the same with all the
you need to-
distractions that I have.
Come to
here.
Edmonton. I'll
You're
fucking
going to want to
fix
hit
you.
on Consuelo. Consuelo's going to be
I'll
giving
fix
you
you.
therapy.
I'll fix
and
you. You
she-
can
you're
stay in
just
my
gonna be
basement.
like, oh,
No. Don't go to Edmonton.
Stay here.
Don't stay there. If you want to come home,
Be
if
tough
your
love.
brain is doing tough love, all right.
Yeah.
Bonzi, quit fucking doing the neighbor's yard. Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck the neighbor. Guys,
But if
You're lucky
if
I
your
didn't stay
brain
with
is-
you, Lachlan. You'd be like, James, stop doing the neighbor's wife. Seriously.
if your mind is telling you to come home, come home. Like, dude, everybody's here. You came here. You enjoyed yourself when you were here. You live here. Everything's familiar here. And if your mind is saying fucking invest in yourself, I think that's really fucking cool. I think it's cool that you're saying to yourself, you know what, I got to go fucking fix me. Like, you've been at it for a long time. I've been telling you this privately and publicly for a long time.
Yes.
Like, you're just running away from you, right? You have to go and figure you out. And it's weird now because that's all I care about. All I care about is the investment of time in myself and making myself a better person on a daily basis and learning about life, right? And I wasn't always like that. I was like you, where I'd like get off a plane in a different country in a miserable. I just need to get away for a while. So I'd, go to St. Lucia for 7 days with a friend of mine. They were all loaded and wealthy, so I didn't want for anything, and I would just drink and fucking act like an idiot because I had this entitlement, right? I didn't have the process of going through life and having life be really fucking hard ever. And I know you have, but somewhere something has made you feel like this isn't good. Like, you're not normal. And you are normal because what you're doing is your body's saying and your brain is saying you need to go and figure out the formula for happiness for Bonzi, because there is one. But it starts with you actually looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, where are my deficiencies? Where can I get better? And how do I invest in like my understanding of an objective reality? Because you know what your problem is, and it happens to everybody when they get here, is that you have this perception issue. You perceive the world to be a certain way, and it ain't, man.
And
because you live in
yourself.
that set. Yeah. And you're not that guy. You're a fucking great human being. You have 3 testicles. You milk your taint because it's got a cyst, all that other stuff. You're bald. You had a skullet. You're vaccinated. You're just you. You got 2 beautiful boys. You got a great friend group. You got a great podcast. You have all kinds of capability you haven't discovered yet because your mind is saying, get out of here as fast as you can. And
I
you
gotta
all
do-
those amazing things you mentioned, Dean. I don't see them. I
was
am
just
so
about to say
loved
that.
and respected here in town, and it's nice to go out and get that attention and stuff, and that's what I kind of feed off. But at the same time, it takes me out of my element, and it like to get that love here in town, and I have to go out to the bars and drink. I can't. I get bored sitting around here. It's not as much as I'm in my element here. I'm not, and when I'm out in town, fucking people love me and love to hang out with me and love to hear my stories and I'm not a miserable fuck when I'm out. And I'm fun to be around because that's my mechanism of dealing with my demons is I want to just go out and make people laugh and entertain them. And that's where the whole podcast started is like, that's me running from my demons on that podcast.
I don't want to make assumptions about you, Bonzi, but like if you're anything like I was and still am in a lot of ways, you define yourself by your worst experiences and your worst qualities, I think, because quietly when you're on your own, because I used to love that too. I used to think like I'm defined by a weird childhood, a bad stepmother, and a really awful breakup. That's what I used to define myself with all the time. And when I would hear other people say, you know, James, you're a pretty good writer. I enjoy reading your stuff. When I say thank you, I used to think to my mind, as I said, thank you, I don't believe this person, you know, because I wasn't used to hearing anyone say any nice things. And when I did, I didn't believe it because of how I felt about myself. I remember when you were in Texas, that's when you started, I think, this process of trying to improve, because you used to say on a fairly regular basis, it's time for me to take a look at myself and to stop drinking or whatever. And you just weren't maybe ready to do it yet because
Correct.
you were in a dystopian United States during the zombie apocalypse. So it's kind of hard to stop drinking during those moments. But coming back quicker than you planned, dude, I think that's a great idea. I really do. I think plus you got that fucking crazy bus lady's husband looking for you or something. So,
I'm against it.
Christ, get on a plane.
I'll be honest.
That has nothing to do with it. But listen, I battled with this morning. When I had this moment, I talked to my dad today. I talked to my manager today, and I had some amazing conversations with people. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I'm doing this finally for me. There's no more bus. There's no more Nicaragua and being here. I need to come home, get healthy up here to better what I know is in my heart and how I can be even so much better and a bigger part of everything that I'm doing. And
you want to have a peaceful life, right? Like, you know, there's so many people that have no idea how to manage the response, right? Life is not about getting it. Like, life is not about love. Life is not about relationships. It ain't. Like a lot of people go, life is about being kind to other people. It is, but it isn't. Life is about making your mind bulletproof to the bullshit that goes around you so that you have the confidence to be able to manage and respond to it properly. And to understand how to do that, you got to deal with everything, dude. You got to be able to say, I fucked up here, I did that. So you have to drag it out into the open, because everybody that gets into the position that you're in, I'm talking to everybody. I'm actually talking to the people that are in Ottawa. I'm talking to everybody that's really struggled and felt like you're two different people, right? You have this thing that wants to come out of you, this fucking human being that's like, I'm ready to have peace of mind and happiness now. It's been almost 50 years. It'd be nice. Thank you. Right? It'd be nice, instead of looking around and looking at the perception of my reality and knowing how poison it is. You just want to be happy and settled, and you want everything to make sense. You want things to be clear for you. And I said this to James about a year ago, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this up. I said, you're a bunch of loose ends, because I can see it in you. Emotional loose ends, right? That's why you cried like a bitch last night. Totally, I'm with Locke. Pussy move. But
when did I cry?
I'm just joking. No, but like that's, and you're going to go through a time, if you're truly honest, where you're emotional, you don't know why you're crying. It's because you're dealing with shit that you didn't want to deal with for a long period of time. People get into the most trouble when they pretend that the things around them don't exist, instead of fucking taking them on and saying, how can I fucking learn to be better and learn from this experience, instead of just ignoring it. That's not fucking living. That's fucking hiding. And I hate to say it, but that's what everybody does when they're like, I don't want to get involved in the fight. I don't want to get into this. I don't want to fix me. But fuck, dude, your best thinking brought you here. So you can do this, right? It's legitimately a matter of giving up. And I mean that for everybody in Ottawa. I mean that for everybody that's like, fuck the world. I mean, don't be angry at the world. The world isn't the problem. The way you look at the world and you manage the world is the problem, which is why you're angry. This entire time, with all this shit that's been going on with Ottawa and all the people that are telling me, fuck, I'm going to come into your house and rape your dog. I don't have one, just so you know. Also, your wife's probably going to divorce you. I also don't have one of those. Both of those are my decisions.
Oh, they were talking about me.
Win. But here's the thing. I don't even care, to the point where if someone calls me a pedophile, I'll retweet it. Right? Because it's got nothing to do with me.
No
it's someone else's sickness, someone else's anxiety that I protect on a daily basis. What we do in this life, dude, the most important thing you and everybody else will do in this life is to know what you control and what you don't. You can control your perception of the things that happen around you. You cannot control the things that happen around you. You can control how you react to them and how you look at them. And I can tell you this, that will make all the difference in everybody's life if they focus on the things that they control and what they don't. I don't control the next Conservative leader. I don't control the Ottawa Convoy. So I don't really care, which is why I pump in, talk about it. I'm convicted about being right and convicted about being part of the greater good and the solution in the conversation. But it takes up no mental space, like none. This whole thing with all these crazies is like Sebastian Gorka, White House guys, MAGA Nation threatening to kill me in the last couple of days. You know where I was today? I took my son to his girlfriend's for Valentine's. I didn't even prep for this show because I don't care. Like, none of that stuff bothers me. So when everybody's like, oh, you're brave or you're this, it's just how I am now. And that came at a cost. It came with me saying, hey, I drink too much. I need help. Hey, I need a psychiatrist. Hey, I need a therapist. And I militantly ran towards answers. And if you run towards answers, you'll get them. Everybody here will. Every single person here will. That's the beauty of loving the life that you live and existing. Dudes, listen to me. I know I'm being overly motivational right now, and I don't like it myself. Do you know how fucking incredible it is that you are here, all three of you? That Lachlan's parents banged when they did and had him at the age when they did, and that he's here, and that fucking their parents and those ancestors, and they met in caves, and they probably long balls, which is why you got yours. Same with you. Like, it is a fucking 1,000,000,000 long shot that you're here. So take care of your fucking self and take care of your mind and invest in yourself by learning about how to manage life. It's simple. That you people sit and talk around. Everybody's like, oh, I'm fucked. I mean, you're not fucked. Your perception of what you think is going on is. That's the difference. And with that, you'll be able to manage. You'll be able to stay calm, and you'll be able to be a fucking contributing human being in your own life. And I've seen it in James the last 2 years. I've never seen anybody grow like him. I've seen it in my kids. I've seen it in my friends. And he shrank and lost weight. But it is truly.
For the first time, I didn't win. For the first time in years, I didn't win the Dickie Doo contest. For the very first time in years.
There you go. Everybody wins.
So I say a year from now, Lachlan Cross will be off the piss forever, and he'll never drink again. That's my prediction.
Holy shit.
Don't make predictions.
I have never wanted to drink more right now than I have ever wanted in my life. This has fucking been going on way longer than I wanted it to. This is way too much religion, way too much therapy.
I know, it was kind of nice.
You guys are all fucked. I'm going to turn this fucking piece of shit thing on. Time. And I'm going to go fucking pound beers. I'm going to be shit tanked in about an hour. You guys, honestly, every single one of you should come. I have all the answers. They're in my basement, and it's a case of fucking Bud Light in the fucking fridge.
Yeah, and that dude
chasing that. It's
sure you're not part of the convoy,
dude. You're not wired like Locke. It works for Locke. Like Locke, he and I will talk about it. He's like, "Do you think I drink too much?" I'm like, "Not at all. You don't drink enough." But it's because he's not sad like you when he drinks, right? Like, everybody reacts differently to fucking everything. You're just you. You're just you, and do the business of getting on with life, right? That's it.
Yeah. You be the big pussy you want to be and come home.
I will. And you can make fun of me to the cows come home, bro. But it's us and I do.
Oh, he will.
This is the decision that is right.
You know what, Bonzi? I'll tell you this. Let me weigh in here. You're a good guy, and I think that I think you know that, And I know you don't go out of your way to try to get people to tell you you're a good guy. That's why I know you're a good guy. Right. And I think you always wanted to do the right thing. I just don't know if you've figured out what that is yet. And that's your path. Everybody has their own fucking path. Right.
You know what? You know what's going to happen to you,
You'll be fine.
Everything in your life will get better as far as what your passions are. Like your podcast, which is great, but it's going to get better. Your relationships with your kids, holy shit, that is going to improve dramatically.
I will say this too, Bonzi. You need people like me in your life. And I'm kidding. Don't come to Edmonton. That is a fucking bad idea.
I know.
But you need people like me. You need people in your life that are honest to you.
It's true. It's like Lachlan is like COVID. And when you get it, you develop these emotional antibodies that allows you to become a healthier person in your mind. And I'm not being funny. I think that's actually true. The only thing that bothers me about if you ever ask Lachlan, if you ever apologize to Lachlan and text him and tell him, it was all you, and he just fucking ignores you for 6 weeks.
He ignores you. Yeah, he doesn't like it. I know.
That's just Lachlan.
Dean's the same too.
Never ignores me. Fuck you. I never ignore any of you guys. Actually, I ignore you both sometimes.
Not ignore, but
a hierarchy here.
You don't take
a hierarchy.
When I say thank you or hey man, I love you and so appreciative of you and so for what you do. You guys both ignore it. You don't like.
I had all this shit beat out of me 100 years ago, right?
And I'm sorry for that.
I had this stuff beat out of me, and you don't need to be sorry for me. This is who I am. Honestly,
and I love you for who you are. I'm so thankful to be your friend.
Comfortable.
Lachlan has a lot on his plate, being the only guy in Canada.
Come out of my skin right now. For the last fucking 30 minutes, I've wanted to choke the life out of all three of you.
Yeah, because you're jealous as shit for part. Like, dude, come down here for the next month and
call
do the
it
show,
jealousy,
and I'll stay. I'll stay. Come down and have a great time.
It's not jealousy. It's not jealousy.
I will come down there. I will, and I'll make you stay. And we're doing blow and hookers.
What you're hearing,
Bonzi, you put your money where your mouth is, and don't come at me until you can do that. You get your ass down here and tell.
I fucking was so proud of you. I was so proud of you for going to Nicaragua and just ignoring all the shit you need to deal with
for a month
and going down.
We're gonna do the show there. You're not allowed to come, but Bonzi and I are gonna get shit-faced. I would love to see how that would go, bro.
Bonzi, Lachlan has a lot. Lachlan has a lot on his plate, knowing that he's the only guy who's in radio when he was there when the entire technology started. It's a really difficult.
He's buddies with Marconi.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy that invented radio.
Listen, let's start what's that new GoFundMe page? Let's start one of those for Locke. Locke can come down and live with Bonzi for a month. He can give me a beer therapy.
I have the money.
Listen, the only reason,
hang
on, the only reason that he's pissed at you is because he's in it for the content. He's in your life for the content. Yeah. He wants you to. He wants like Nicaraguan hookers to be walking by in the back, and he wants lines of blow to be there and all that other stuff. He really wants you to experience the hedonism he was never entitled to because he got married when he was 18.
He's living vicariously through me daily, and he gets upset.
That's why I'm so disappointed in you, and I've been consistent in that through this entire podcast.
Listen,
you're sitting here bleeding all over the fucking place, and I'm sitting here.
Bonzi wants to get better, dude. He's like, Locke, I get what you're saying.
Wait. How old are you? Fuck, that can wait.
49.
Lachlan's not ready.
70.
Bonzi's not ready for Lachlan Love. Lachlan Love is like what he just said. I don't care about anything but the content, and he sets himself up so perfectly that one day he's going to be like, "You did pretty well on the show today." And it's going to feel like angels just embarked from heaven to prop you up on their shoulders and tell you how great you are.
It'll mean so much. It'll mean so much. Listen, Lachlan is not, you can't, Bonzi, here we go again. You can't, everybody's not going to react the way you want them to react. And Lachlan gets very uncomfortable when people start acting nice and talking about real shit. You should know that by now. This is effectively your fault.
This is.
Sorry,
I blame this whole fucking podcast on you, Bonzi, and you weren't even on it for half of it.
Lest you think
the whole thing.
And the craziness is going to stop just because I'm going back to Ontario. Listen, there's a lot of shenanigans and stuff we'll get into there, and the tripping with Bonzi will just continue at home.
Yeah, but there's just something a little sweeter about the idea of you getting stabbed in the jungle. I don't know.
Bonzi, you don't have to stay in an urban area, right? Like You don't have to stay where all the temptations are.
Oh, it's a mess.
When I moved up to the sticks, I didn't have a pub to go to around the corner from my house. That probably helped a lot. You know what I mean? Like maybe you want to figure out where you're going when you get home, and make sure it's not Hamilton.
No offense,
No
James.
offense,
we're
Ryan.
gonna work. I'll work on that with Bonzi when we get off. I don't think you should be involved in his
In
recovery.
his destination.
He just said how great I've
mushroom
recovered.
Therapy.
Yeah, but you.
No, I said you're
Your
recovering.
recovery, James, has
Yeah.
nothing to do with anybody else's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea either. If he was,
Lock.
you're trying to get him to move over to Killaloo. You're doing what
No,
I'm
no, no,
doing.
no.
You're being
Jesus
selfish
Christ.
about this
I
whole
don't want
thing.
him to
No,
move
he's
up
just
here.
trying to
Are you out of
get.
your mind?
He's encouraging. No,
The
you've
overall
misunderstood
idea
in
of
your
being in a rural
enthusiasm
area
for trying to
is what
ruin
I'm
his
trying to
life.
say.
Lock, yeah.
Okay.
No,
All
I
right.
wouldn't ruin his. I give really good counsel, guys. I'm a good
Yeah, you are
counsel
good
guy.
counsel. Actually, you're smart. So, Bonds, when are you coming home? Let's wrap this up.
We'll
'cause I
figure it
gotta
out.
piss.
I mean, listen, this all happened
Go on a
in the
tear
middle of the
before you
night,
go
and then
home,
this
though.
morning, and then I came right on the show. I got to process all
fired
this. Listen, we're gonna make. I got a buddy, a friend's
hang on.
friend's coming here tomorrow. He wants
Hang
a
on,
tour.
Stop. I'm talking. So,
Does
You
he do
asked me
blow?
a question.
I know, and I just told you to stop because I want to talk again now.
Because it's going to take 30 minutes to get an answer.
Totally. Just stop talking. So, when are you coming home? Date.
Soon.
Not like
don't
what's
know.
going on between now and when you come home.
I'll let
Like
you know soon.
when? Okay, well,
don't know.
when? When soon?
Like
Like
a
in
week.
the next 2 weeks?
Probably within a week to 10 days. That's
Book
where
the flight
it's,
tonight.
Stay
I will be
until you
waiting.
stay until you get stabbed, and
Okay,
then
don't.
just once. I
I'm
don't
not
want
gonna
you to
get
die.
stabbed. People
Just
love me
something
here,
in the
dude. I'm not
back
gonna
of the
get
shoulder.
stabbed.
He doesn't want you to get stabbed all the way. Just a little shivving.
Just a little bit. I mean, listen, I can do that for content. If
Not
that's
a
all
gut
you
shot.
want, I'll get my dad to stab me in the back and just go a little bit. You know, Locke said not all the way.
Fuck's sakes.
If you come on,
At
the
least make a
podcast
visit to the porn
tomorrow with
house
a
or
knife
something.
in
Do
your
something.
shoulder, that'd be the best day for me.
Hey,
I'm not asking.
Okay, I'm
you
coming
to do
tomorrow,
it yourself.
Bonzi. I'm coming tomorrow.
All right, get on a plane.
James, oh fuck.
You'll be all right.
James and Bonzi and fucking Nicaragua together. That's
Never
a
see
fucking
them again.
podcast.
Finally,
Put
the trip
GoPros
is
on your
mouth.
head.
James's mouth with Bonzi's inability to understand conflict. They're dead in a week. James is being
I don't think so.
shot.
I think it would be great.
Lachlan's-
20
you guys would be
grams,
dead. Yeah, oh yeah. You
20
guys would be.
bucks a gram.
You know what? You guys would be hats in like 3 weeks for Bush guys. You would be just like
This
hats.
is way more. See, this is way more fun, isn't it? Than that whole therapy shit. I am
This
now.
is
I'm
therapy,
back.
though.
Now I'm enjoying
Oh,
this.
I'm back. Now I'm back, guys. All right, that's it for us. 2.5 hours. That's good for me. I don't feel like going on anymore. Thanks to everybody that commented in the show today. We
There's a
didn't
few.
put a lot of comments up, but there were some good.
It was like
ones. There were
it was
some
like
great
reading your mind before you got better, Dean. It's like all these comments about you. You're such a dick, Dean. All this
You're
stuff.
such a homophobe. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I've really enjoyed this last week. It's like every single person, after we posted the link to the donor list, every single person that had an issue with it because they probably donated to the insurrection of the country. I get that, guys. I get your anger. That's not great. But every single person that tweeted me about the whole thing that may or may not have been on the list. Every time I got a tweet or an email or something like that, I was like, I win.
I love
I
this
win.
comment. Thank Christ this is over.
Army Chris never had a loss for words, that fucker.
Bonzi, I fucking love you, man. I
love you too, bro.
I swear to God, I do. Jamesy,
Thank you.
I'm still working on my relationship
Yeah.
with you, but we'll get there.
It's
I
funny
like you.
because
Get on
it's
a plane.
true.
I like you. Well,
All
I
right.
think you're judgy, but other than that, you're good.
I can
You know?
be. I'm
You're
working
good.
on that. Dean,
Mhm.
thank you for having me today. I've got
to
to
see
go
everybody.
take a piss, and I'm going to get a beer. All right.
Me too. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Bonzi. Thanks, James. Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Tripping with
tonight.
Bonzi is the name of the podcast. Blackballed, the podcast, is where you can find James as well. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. We covered a bunch of different shit today. Some people thought it was the Boomer Show. I love everybody when you comment in this comment section. It's like, can't believe I'm watching the Boomer Show. Just wanted to let you know we can. We can believe you're watching it. Just 2.5 hours, glued, thousands. No big deal. That's how you do it. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, DeanBlundell.com. Thanks to our friends and sponsors at Easy Auto Financial, not just Easy Auto Financial. Also, Domination.com, dominate with content, DMNTN.com. Easy Auto Financial is EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Check them out today as well. And, of course, our friends at Ed's Fine Imports. Get your gits from edsfineimports.com. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.